Hey, how you doing, folks? It's Friday night, 7 p.m. And this will be the new night for the show. It's the second night or second Friday in a row I've done the show. KG's What Happened. So it'll be on Friday nights from here on out. Thanks for being here. How are you? How are you holding up? Are you doing okay? You may have noticed on the news they're talking about opening everything back up at the end of April. Some states in America are going more lax on the lockdown next week. So we'll see what happens here, right? This is good. Think back to all those people you've seen on YouTube the last few weeks. This is it. It's over. It's finished. We're not coming out of this. It's why I always say we got to take it day by day, right? I'm not trying to be Nostradamus over here. You know, day by day, we see how it plays out. The whole thing's very interesting. I'll have some news tonight related to the virus just because it's hard to get around it, but not as much. I try not to do a whole lot on that in these shows. There's so much more to get into, so many other fun, interesting things to look at now too. The virus, I think we're all kind of tired of it. It's been around for a while. You'll see the stories I have tonight are going to show that the tides are shifting, and the public are really starting to wake up more and more, and they're getting tired of it. They're looking it up for themselves, and they're seeing the numbers just aren't right. Something's off, right? So anyway, thanks again for being here, guys. Again, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're hanging in out there. Got a lot of stuff to get into tonight, a lot of stuff to show you. Want to say hi to the moderators. Thank you as always for being here. I want a big shout out to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. Thank you all so much. And let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Let me make sure I got this all set up. Cool. All right, let's take a look at this first story here. This one's really interesting, and this one has been out for a few weeks, but it's kind of new to me. I thought it was interesting. It has to do with Dr. Fauci, and that's the doctor. And there's Dr. Birx is the female, always wearing a scarf. But Fauci and Birx are the doctors that are always on camera with Trump here lately concerning the virus situation. Well, it turns out that I'll just read this. So within the WikiLeaks that came out a while back, the Hillary Clinton email files that were discovered in the WikiLeaks, they're letters from Fauci to Hillary Clinton through her aide and lawyer, Cheryl Mills. And I'll just read some of this stuff. Look it up for yourself. I mean, this is from the WikiLeaks, and I didn't know if you guys heard about this. Like I said, it took me a while to find it. I just stumbled on this the last few days, but I guess it's been out there for a few weeks. Right here, and this is written from Dr. Fauci. It says, wow, very rarely does a speech bring me to tears. This is about Hillary, but this one did it. Talk about telling it like it is. This was a bases-loaded home run. Please tell the secretary that I love her more than ever. You guys too, of course. Gross. Here's another one from him. Anyone who had any doubts about the secretary's stamina and capability following her illness had those doubts washed away by today's performance before the Senate and the House. She faced extremely difficult circumstances at the hearings, and still she hit it right out of the park. Please tell her that we all love her and are very proud to know her. Gross. Gross. I mean, Hillary Clinton's one of those that if you can't see what she is, and most people do, and Fauci knows, but it just goes to show you that he's in league with her. He's in league with these people. There's all of his information right there. It's a funny thing. I actually called that phone number, and Dr. Fauci answered. I go, is this Dr. Fauci? He's like, yes. I was like, is there a John in your house? He's like, no, there's no John in my house. I was like, well, where do you take a dump? And I hung up, and I was laughing, and Chubbs was laughing, and man, we just rolled on the couch just laughing in Dr. Fauci's face. Ha! But all kidding aside, yeah, it's pretty obvious links between Dr. Fauci here and Hillary Clinton, who I'm not even sure is human at this point. This is from former Disney star Orlando Brown, and he's talking about Will Smith. He's accusing Will Smith of touching him. Check this out.
Every everything I love, the nigga set me up, bro. You feel me? That nigga is tripping, bro. That nigga be on some other shit, my nigga. Like, straight the fuck up. What are you talking about, my nigga? You raped me as a kid, you bitch ass nigga. You raped me as a kid and you raped all my kids, nigga. And you still trying to motherfucking get away with the shit, nigga. What do you mean? I'm sitting right here, bitch. Every time I see you, I want to slice your neck, motherfucker. You really, really have to understand what the Bible says, bro. The Bible says, it says, honor your mother and your father for your days are long, nigga. I ain't killed you for that reason, bitch. Don't you ever get on a motherfucking TV show and act like I'm the motherfucking rapist, nigga, when you rape me, bitch. You raped every fucking body. Hoe ass nigga. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? On everything I love, the niggas.
So he obviously saw something that triggered him. I'm not sure what it was. But it's, unfortunately, it's not uncommon to find a former Disney star falling apart. We've seen this before. And I mean, we know what Disney's connected with. And, that I'm sure many of these kids have to go through quite a bit. All kinds of SRA. Think of a lot of the big stars from Disney who made it. Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and some to name a few. But it's like practically every star that made it out of Disney. You can type in their name and Illuminati if you're interested, and look up images, and you'll find all of them obvious symbolism where they've sold out to the beast, right? But a lot of them were brought up in it through this Disney and Nickelodeon's another. Remember years ago when I first started off with this, even over 10 years ago, I remember people putting up the images from Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's probably changed it now, but their main logo had a pyramid with an eye, an all-seeing eye by itself, lightning bolts, a pyramid all by itself. I mean, again, all these symbols. This is like a decade ago or so, maybe even longer, where they're on Nickelodeon. But that's, we know them by their symbols. And that's why a lot of these shows that come out there's always some kind of programming going on, or the children, especially the young girls, are always dressed, to me, kind of provocatively a lot of the time in a lot of these shows. Now, I know that's not by accident. So anyway, who knows what this is all about, though. Talking about Will Smith, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not into casting false accusations on people. You don't know, but there's enough weird fruit around Will Smith's tree to where, nothing would surprise me with that weird family. I mean, the way you can look up images of him kissing his son on the mouth. He's kissed his son on the mouth in public multiple times, even during interviews where his kid was little and he'd be on the stage with him. But look up that, always kissing his son right on the mouth. I don't know about you dads out there. I don't know if you guys grab your sons and kiss them on the mouth. Man, I don't even kiss my dad on the cheek or any of that kind of stuff. Now I know this is cultural and it could be different for cultures and stuff like this, but I couldn't even imagine, kissing my dad on the lips. Gross. I know. Chubb's just left the couch. He's grossed out by this. But again, I know that culturally some people are okay with that, and it's a whole other thing. I understand. It's just the way I came up, the way I was raised, everything else. Plus, my dad's totally not my type. But just kidding there. But I would never want to kiss my dad in the lips. I guess I'm weird like that. Here we go. George Soros funded group petitions governors nationwide for mass prisoner release. This is from April 8th. So again, this is just, and we're not surprised by this. I mean, they're Luciferian really, but people call them globalists or deep states or, liberals. Marxist would be probably a better term. So we're not surprised when Soros is involved in this. And as the entire world's in lockdown and facing all this potential catastrophe, of course, he wants them to start releasing prisoners. Has nothing to do with his care for the people behind bars. He just wants to flood the system with as much anarchy and chaos as possible. That's what these people want. It reminds me of the 3 world wars from Albert Pike, the Third World War. And this is all because they planned it. It's not that he was a prophet. These are the controllers that planned these things. But he said before the Third World War, they'd unleash the atheists on the Christians. and the atheists would win, they believed, eventually wiping it out. And then they'd kill the atheists that didn't want to join the New World Order and worship Lucifer. But the point is chaos. These people thrive on chaos. Their ultimate goal is for everything to burn and for them to rise from the ashes like the phoenix, right? So the latest salvo from a group affiliated with the socialist Soros is in a letter sent to governors of all 50 states urging them to release as many people as possible from incarceration due to the virus. Breitbart News reported that the Brennan Center for Justice, which is supported financially by Soros Open Society Foundations, sent the letter and added that they were requesting the release provided the prisoners do not pose serious public safety threats. Well, that's nice. Glad you threw that in there. All right, I think I've had about enough of that. We get it. He just looks like a monster, doesn't he? Now, here's something you can look up if you're interested. This is on petitions.whitehouse.gov. And this is the name of this petition is, "We call for investigations into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for medical malpractice and crimes against humanity." As of now, it's got 229,000 have signed, and it was only 100,000 goal. Still, if you're interested, maybe you want to be a part of it. I don't even know if it's still open. I guess you can still do it, right? Nope, needs 0 signatures. So I guess this is already good. I guess they're good. And says by May 10th, 2020, to get a response from the White House. So I guess May 10th. Is that right? May 10th, 2020. All right, we'll see what happens. But I just want to share things like this from time to time, too, because it's so easy to just keep focusing on the darkness sometimes and just focus on the bad news. And, and we got to, pull out of it. I always keep myself balanced myself in my real life. I know my videos can be scary and things like this, but that's all on purpose. It has to be. It's also telling the truth, the scary truth. It's okay to shake people awake. But to sit here and focus on darkness every single day of our lives and all the evil and the bad news, and it's just not good for you. Not good. Shouldn't do that. So from time to time, I like to see these examples of humanity pulling together. It's also easy for us to, start calling everyone sheeple. I never liked that. Sheeple. Oh, all the sheeple, man. They don't understand, da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da. And you try to, and what happens is with truthers a lot of the time is they start acting just as bad as the elitists that they're trying to expose, I feel. They're elite because they have knowledge that they feel the sheep will have no clue about, and they'll never understand. We're smarter than they are. I hate that spirit. I really do. I just hate that spirit, man. Hate it. The point is, though, we find examples like this petition. I don't know who put it together. Created on April 10th. So just a week ago. And they already got over double what they needed, which is fantastic. So let's see what happens. All right. I mean, I'm not holding out my breath. I'm not holding my breath that, Bill and Melinda are going to get in trouble or have to go to court. Come on. I know better. But the point is, it's good that we're shining a light on these people. We're showing other people in this world that we're aware. A lot of us are aware that these are not good people. This guy is not a doctor, and he shouldn't have anything to do with creating things that he can put into people on a mandatory basis, even worldwide. And this is what they've been talking about. So here's a string of some UFO videos. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share. I've said recently, I'm working on something now. I'm saving the best UFO videos for my video I'm creating. I say best, because it's going to get my point across. But wow, there's some crazy stuff happening in the skies. It's been increasing over the last few years. I've covered it in videos. Time to time, I'll do these videos and show you some footage, and we'll talk about some things. But man, every week, more and more. A lot of them I won't even share just because it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different location. But hey, look, there's orbs in the sky. But it's everywhere. I mean, like I said, it's boring. You're just sitting here looking at every, 50 videos of the same old type looking kind of orbs, right? Because they're all shapeshifters, orbs changing colors, occasionally shapes multiplying and then disappearing and then coming back. And I mean, we get it. We've seen one of these, you've seen them all. So I always try to show the best ones I can. But I am telling you, the sightings of these orbs, people call them orbs, worldwide are increasing big time. Big time. I may have the story up, or I may be saving it for the video, but spoiler alert, even Logan Paul, that goofy kid YouTube celeb, he just tweeted something. It's either a tweet or an Instagram. I think it was last night or earlier today. I saw this in a UFO forum, but I guess he saw a UFO in Los Angeles. There's some UFOs and filmed it with his phone. And I mean, that's a really well-known kid. You know, I don't watch his stuff. I'm familiar with who he is, and he's got millions of followers and all that. But even that, you know, he filmed an actual UFO, an orb, and then it even changed colors and, you know, shined at him and everything. Is pretty crazy. And there's several of them up in the sky, and just raising more awareness. You know, it's good and bad. You know, I think there's two forces at work here. I do believe they're coming. I've been talking about that for a long time, but I believe these are demons. They're demonic entities, even fallen angels. On one level, we may experience there at the end in the skies, but demonic entities. The whole lie of aliens. It's a whole lie of aliens. There's also Project Bluebeam. You know, a lot of people think it could be like a fake rapture. They certainly have the technology for that. Some people think it could be that. Maybe it'll be a real thing. Maybe this will be when the rapture happens. People will call the rapture. Maybe that's when that's going to happen. People disappear, and then they'll blame it on the aliens that came down. But then it'll be a new world order, you know, all set up through the aliens, you know, the alien saviors. There'll be a new world order, and be one leader. He'll be your new Jesus. We call him the Antichrist, but so there's that. Maitreya is a possibility. Maitreya. If you've never heard of Maitreya, look up Maitreya. Fascinating stuff. I've done a lot of videos on him. I even did one. Last one I did, I think, was called "The Jester Jesus Approaches." So Maitreya is a possibility. Anyway, let's take a look at some of these. I don't know if the audio. I don't know why I sang that. I don't know if the audio is clear on some of these. We'll see. It really doesn't matter when you're looking at the videos, or the footage. But let's check it out anyway. Here you go. This is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Might be some bad language in this. The reason I want to show you this is an obvious ship. This is an actual spaceship. This is an actual ship. It's a vessel. We can see that it's all together. We can see it's an actual craft. And the UFOs that I talk about, the little demons dancing in the sky, those are very different. I've shown you a lot of examples of those things as well. So this is different, but this is I think a good example of a ship just kind of floating over a city. I mean, I don't see craft like this usually. This looks like it might be something government, of course, but anyway, it's interesting, I think. Or then, you know, what if it would be a kind of a blue beam thing? It'd be a whole show, and part of it would be some of these craft that the government does have. You know, that's another idea. Maybe a lot of this is stuff like this. It's, you know, the government sending ships out and maybe getting people prepared in their own way. I'm just shooting ideas out here. I don't know, but I think it's fun to think about stuff like this. But, you know, perhaps that's a part of it. And then on top of that, there will be a blue beam kind of light show taking place in the sky, you know, at the same time, maybe a 500-foot tall Jesus floating out of a cloud or something. You know, I don't know, you know, who knows, but it's just something to think about. The last Spider-Man movie was all about blue beam technology as well. They used drones to create creatures, like they were destroying buildings and stuff, but they'd be setting off debts on the buildings, and the whole thing was an orchestrated event. It's very interesting how they pulled it off, but just another example of that kind of conditioning as well. There you go. What was that? What was that? That was from Omar Chima. You want to go look at that? Omar Chima. Cool name. Omar Chima. Who took your lunch money? Omar Chima. Okay, this is weird flying object in Birkenhead. I think we have another flying humanoid here. Check this out. It's a good catch, man. I've shown you guys a lot of these flying humanoids. That's what people call them. What else do you call it? I have a lot of theories. There's so many different ideas on what that could be. But they've shown up everywhere. This is what the UK, the last one I saw was, I think, from China. Seen them in Brazil, some in America. This is Birkenhead Whirl. I don't know where that is. But that's a pretty good capture of what we call flying humanoids. Look at that one more time. I did a video on these things, man, 4 years ago with a bunch of footage. So this, I mean, I'm still finding them. We're still finding footage of these things. Anyway, the flying humanoid. What could it be? What could they be? And a lot of times they do look different. They come in a lot of different shapes and forms. Here's another one, another UFO video. I think these are orbs. Let's see. They look like they're in formation, and then they kind of start spreading around.
Bro, what the fuck is that, though? Now they lightweight disappearing now.
We always see them twinkle, don't we? They come in, they go out, they come in, they'll multiply. Those videos we've seen of these orbs dropping other little orbs coming out of them.
See them on the camera now. It's only 3.
They were moving information, then they stopped, and now there's just 3. What's that? That's from Anthony Howard. If you want to check out Anthony's video, it's from Anthony Howard. I showed you guys this. A lot of people have been going on ISS and looking this stuff up themselves, and people keep posting videos. And this is from Rodrigo Alvarez, April 4th. But people keep posting videos from ISS of all these orbs. Look at all these. And again, I know there's arguments to be made about NASA and ISS and this and space and everything, but people are recording this. If you're one of these people that don't believe that space exists, and if you didn't know there's people that do believe that, you know, then still this is showing up on their feed. So maybe your argument could be they're doing this to set up the people for the orbs or whatever the aliens are going to look like, perhaps. But anyway. This is pretty interesting, though. Check it out. Look at these things. It's just music playing, so it's wild, huh? Just floating in space. I don't know, too. You know, could those be the Starlink satellites? I'm not sure. That's one thing that just occurred to me. I know they just launched 250 Starlink satellites. Maybe there were more. I'm not sure, but I know they launched a lot of satellites recently, Starlink. So that might be that. I don't know. Because those do seem to be just kind of free floating through space. You know, with the orbs we see, they move, they change direction, they change size, they change color. So I don't know. Could that be orbs, just demonic orbs floating in space? You know, or Starlink satellites, perhaps, or some other kind of debris. I don't know what kind of debris is in space. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. Let's play a little bit of that. Another one, some orbs. This is from Craig Grigg. UFO orbs in New Zealand.
Flying saucers. Here they are. There's the orbs.
There you go. I don't know if he... Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There you go. New Zealand, even. Craig Grigg. Lights in the Sky, Melbourne. Deep Healer from Deep Healer. Oh, now I remember why I included this. Okay. Throughout the years, I find different kind of YouTube, different kind of UFO trends. There's all different kinds of UFOs. It's not just the orbs or the ships. There's also the black smoke rings. I've done videos on those. I found some information from back in 1946 about those things. So I'm going to do a short video on those because, again, I always have people those people are making those. It's like, dude, they're showing up everywhere from Saudi Arabia to the middle of America, these things, these black smoke circles floating in the sky, but they have evidence of these things all the way back to the 40s. But so you get things like that. You get the flying humanoids. You also have this is a new anomaly I've seen, and this has got to be I've seen at least a dozen of these videos from all over the world, and it's the same anomaly. And at first, the first one I saw was in Japan. And at first, it's easy to think that maybe it's just spotlights or something. I don't know. And I think that's what I thought it was at first. But now the same thing is showing up all over the place, all over the world, and it looks the same. So it's another one I should do a video on. Maybe I'll just add it into the UFO video I'm doing now, or the quote UFO video, that show you some of these different trends, because here's another one. But anyway, looks just like this. You've seen some of them here on the show, but anyway, here. You see what I mean? You may have seen those before. You've probably seen them here on the show, one of the shows, but yeah, I mean, it looks just like that. I swear I've seen like a dozen examples. I'll have to go through and just collect everything on this, because it's another trend. It's another one of those things. And is it just those same things, just the orbs coming in a new form, shape-shifting as we know? Perhaps that's kind of the way I think about things. Perhaps that's what it is. If it doesn't turn out to be some traveling circus that's traveling the world and has this specific light show in the bottom that shows up in the clouds, but then nobody ever makes the connection between the lights and the circus, then maybe that's a possibility. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. Here's another one from ISS from April 9th, 2020, John Hilton YouTube channel. Cool catch. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool looking. Check this out. There's no audio, but anyone can do this. You can go look at the ISS feed when it's up. And some people just keep it on, hours and hours and hours at a time and look for stuff. And that's what some of these guys find. They'll find strange anomalies like that. For those of you who don't believe in space, maybe the intern, like, hey, put something cool on the feed. All right. Something to make them think. Okay, boss. And he creates a bunch of orange orbs and something kind of fuzzy looking following it. And who knows what it is, but just, hey, keep them believing in space. Okay, Teddy? Okay, boss. I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's the truth. Or maybe we're seeing some spiritual anomaly in space. Maybe it's just a couple of orange satellites. I don't know. I think it's cool looking though. Whatever it is. Weird, huh? It's got that kind of glow and that kind of mist about it. I think that's most of the UFO videos for now. There might be a few more here later. Yes, the CDC has been lying to all of us about C-19 deaths. Let the investigations begin. It's from April 9th. One of the reasons I brought this up is, just as I was saying earlier, that's another trend I'm seeing over the past week. People are stepping up. People are getting tired of this because they're seeing the numbers really aren't that bad, or they're going down. So everyone's ready to be done with this. People are ready to get back to work, get back to their lives, right? So starting to see the pushback. Seeing more of it this past week. Let's see what this says here. When everything is said and done and it's no longer fashionable or feasible to continue scaring America to death while ruining our economy over the virus, there should be some serious and substantial investigations into the origins of this nightmare, which I've said could lead us to war with China. I've mentioned that over the last couple of weeks, and I think there's some stories on that tonight. And the first target of those investigations should be the renowned Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, because the agency has been empowered by someone somewhere, and we have to look at the top for such decisions to lie about the 19 death rates, or C-19 death rates. We here at the National Sentinel, it's the name of the website, the National Sentinel, have been skeptical about the severity of this pandemic since the get-go, while understanding that C-19 is a novel C virus that we don't yet know everything about. It's not wildly ravaging as to be a planet killer, which should be obvious by now. This isn't to say that the virus doesn't kill or sicken. Of course it does. We're not conspiracists, it says. We are realists, and the facts on the ground do not match all the deadly hype we've been fed nonstop now for weeks. As it turns out, the CDC has been purposely inflating the virus death rates for some probably political reason or objective. We can only speculate about the motives, but the agency itself admits as much, as noted by Matthew Vadam, the American thinker. All right, fair enough. I get it. We get it. But yeah, the tides are changing. The people are getting tired of this. Attorney General Barr, very concerned about personal liberty after Gates proposes digital vaccine certificates. I thought this was worth posting up just because we all know about the digital vaccine certificates, and we also can see the potential for these things to be very bad and to be something even biblical. So we get it, but I think far too often, I think we just, some people get this defeatist attitude, like, well, there's no reason, no one's going to go against it. It's going to happen. Here come the vaccines. Bill Gates will be our God. The whole thing. It's like, calm down. There's still some decent people, I believe, out there trying to fight the battle. If the Luciferians ran everything, you wouldn't have any freedoms right now. The whole world would look very different if the Luciferians completely owned everything and ran everything without any interference. This world would not look the same. It'd be very different. I say that because, again, I don't look at it all black and white, like everybody in government's evil. Everyone in Hollywood is kissing the devil's butthole. I don't believe that. There's God has good people everywhere in different places. But anyway, and maybe this is an example, but it's good to see the Attorney General of the United States at least acknowledging this as being potentially a very bad thing and an issue with personal liberty. So just throwing that out there. Following Bill Gates' proposal for digital certificates proving a person has been vaccinated against the virus, Attorney General William Barr said he was very concerned about the slippery slope in terms of continuing encroachments on personal liberty. Eventually, we'll have some digital certificates to show who has recovered or been tested recently, or when we have a vaccine who has received it, the Microsoft founder had speculated. Barr added he was concerned about the tracking of people and so forth generally, especially going forward over a long period of time. However, appropriate, reasonable steps are fine. Okay, we'll see. See how that all plays out, huh? Here's, I don't I thought it was interesting. And anytime you're dealing with somebody who's connected with child, sex rings and things like this, and child dirty pictures and things like this. Anytime you have someone like that connected with a billionaire, and specifically in this case Bill Gates, I find it interesting. But this is a news story from a few years back, from 2014. But I just thought this was interesting. That's all. I'll share it with you. See what you think about it. Here, I'll have to make it bigger. And
Federal 7's Gary Horker is live near the Gates compound in Medina. And Gary, this man, he's charged with having and trading a massive amount of child pornography. Cairo 7's Gary Horker is live near the Gates compound in Medina. And Gary, this man worked as an engineer for the family.
That's what SPD and intelligence found out, Steve. They found out that the man actually worked for the Bill and Melinda Gates mansion on the grounds of their sprawling 66,000 square foot estate. And that's where they found him and questioned him last March. The estate is behind us right on the lakefront here, but this is a few blocks away, and it's as close as their security will allow us to get. But according to King County prosecutors, 51-year-old Rick Allen Jones was questioned by detectives about images of child porn and even child rape that were sent from Jones's home computer. Now, none of this alleged crime actually happened at the Gates mansion, but it was here that Rick Allen Jones admitted to detectives he collected child porn for about 10 years, sending images through his Gmail account. Now, while Jones was talking to detectives at the Gates estate, 3 more SPD detectives had a search warrant to search Jones's Ballard apartment. There, they say they found more than 6,000 images of graphic child porn and rape, 133 of which were children identified by police. We tried Jones's apartment for comment. We got no response. We also reached out to Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation, and we did not hear back. So, in fact, we do not know if he's been fired by the Gates' family. Another mystery into this is why Jones was never jailed or charged by these allegations up until now. The investigation started here at the Gates Foundation, the Gates Mansion, in March, and the criminal complaint, which I have right here, says he has to show up in court and face a judge in the coming days. So we're going to keep track of this. We're digging into the charges. We'll keep you posted on the latest. Live from the lakefront in Medina tonight, I'm Gary Horton.
I don't know. I don't know. It's creepy. It's weird. Bill Gates, to me, is very creepy and weird. I don't know. Burks says government is classifying all deaths of patients with the virus as C-19 deaths, regardless of the cause. It reminds me of a story I'd seen. I never put it up here on the show. I'm not sure. I just didn't think it really qualified at the time. Plus, I wasn't sure about it. You guys can look it up if you're interested. Maybe you already knew about this, but apparently in China, they're missing 21 million cell phone users. I saw that as a headline. They're missing 21 million cell phone users. I checked out a bit of one of these stories. What do you think that means? That's a lot of people. There was a lot of videos coming out of China at the beginning of the whole thing, remember? And there was a lot of violence going on, people getting picked up and yanked out of their homes and thrown into, one lady was thrown into some kind of a small box in the back of a tiny truck and driven away. I remember that one. There's a lot of crazy stuff. So, was that an opportunity, do you think they used perhaps to clean house? Maybe get rid of people that have been protesting, agitators, people who are anti-government, maybe even Christians. I don't know. Could that be what that is? Maybe there's some other reason with the cell phone users missing. I don't know. Maybe it's something more of a numbers thing or something. I'm not sure. Not people, but like something to do digitally, or something's off somewhere. I don't know. Or maybe they used the situation as an opportunity to take out people that were anti-government, maybe even Christians, perhaps. I'm sure there's probably some stories on that out there as well. But ultimately, it all comes down to lying about the numbers. And now right here we have this. Dr. Burks says government's going to classify all deaths of patients with the virus as C-19 deaths, regardless of the cause. And that's to make the numbers pump up more, right? That's the way I see it, because they know that people are already starting to react because they're realizing the numbers are low. especially in New York City. The governor said they were looking at 2 million. We're going to have it, and what it's already starting to go down, and it's way less than what they expected. Basically, around the general flu numbers, I think, is what it's equated to now. So, the public, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool everybody. And the public are starting to get a lot more wise to this kind of stuff. And they don't like it. And you don't want to anger millions and millions and millions and millions of people. You don't want to do that. Russia accuses Trump of planning to seize planets with space mining executive order. We're all wondering what Space Force was for. Well, let's see what Russia says. Russia accused U.S. President Trump of planning to seize planets by signing an executive order outlining American policy on commercial mining in space. The EO, which the Russian space agency said damaged the scope of international cooperation in space, was signed on Monday. The order said the U.S. would seek to negotiate joint statements and bilateral and multilateral arrangements with foreign states regarding safe and sustainable operations for the public and private recovery and use of space resources. It added U.S. citizens should have the right to engage in such activity, and that outer space is a legally and physically unique domain of human activity, and the United States does not view it as a global commons. Start seeing a real space race taking place here again, huh? Like a real space race. Who's going to dominate space? Roscosmos, that's the Russian group, said the order put the U.S. at odds with the notion of space belonging to all humanity. Attempts to expropriate outer space and aggressive plans to actually seize territories of other planets hardly set the countries on course for fruitful cooperation, the agency said. Russia, a leading producer of natural resources, first announced its plans to join Luxembourg in mining for minerals in outer space at the beginning of March last year. Space mining has been the realm of science fiction, but a handful of firms and governments are pursuing the idea of making it a reality. The small Duchy of Luxembourg became the first country to adopt legal regulations relating to mining in space, including from asteroids. That's right out of the movies. It's crazy. In January, we offered Luxembourg a framework agreement on cooperation on the use of mining exploration in space. We expect an answer from Luxembourg, said Russian Deputy Prime Minister, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This should be interesting. Get us a real live space race going on here. Hey, any of you young folk out there, any of you under, 25 that are listening right now, any of you that are under 25 that are listening right now, are you finding yourself unhappy in your life, even before the lockdown? And are you finding that you have no direction? You're not sure what to do, and you're tired of not doing anything. You want to do something. You want to achieve something. I'm not even joking around here, but have you looked into going into the Space Force? I was in the military for 8 years active myself. I was in the Coast Guard, but I feel like if I was that young again, back in those days, it's like, 5-10 years ago. But if I was back in those days, I feel like I might do it just for the adventure, just to see what the heck it's all about. Like, really? Space Force? Okay. Get out of your hometown. Gonna get to go explore. You're gonna make friends you'll have for the rest of your life. That was my experience. And also, don't let me. It's not all puppy dogs and ice cream. I experienced the most misery I've ever had in my life while I was in the military. I mean, on multiple occasions, and that had to do with poor working conditions at times, horrible bosses. Man, there were some tough times in there too. Don't get me wrong, but that was my experience. But overall, it was positive. It's the way you look at things and what you take away from it. You'll make friends you'll have for the rest of your life. I don't know how dangerous Space Force is. I chose the Coast Guard because I didn't want to go to war or anything, but I did want to, be in some kind of a military. At first, I was looking at the Peace Corps, but I was real naive. I actually contacted them, but it turned out I had nothing to offer them. It was like, oh, you mean I have to have something to offer you? I can't just go to the Peace Corps. It's not like that. and be some kid out of high school. And, hey, I'm just going to go to the Peace Corps and go help people out. It wasn't like that. So, but I chose the Coast Guard for a few reasons. But, also, again, I didn't want to see war. I didn't want to train to kill, nothing like that. It was just me. And that's no offense to anyone. I got a lot of military in my family, a lot of military friends, different branches. That's just the way I viewed it. That was just me, So Space Force, I don't know, man. Think about it. You're under 25. You got no direction in life. Maybe you're having a hard time making any money. Don't want to live with mom and dad forever. Maybe have a little adventure in this world and just go for it, right? Space Force. Why not? You may actually get to, who knows? I mean, the possibilities are endless. I think that'd be a lot of fun for not even kidding here, someone who believes in the flat earth. That might be ideal for you. That might be an ideal thing for a flat earth person to get into Space Force. I'm just saying, guys. I'm not, I'm not your teen counselor here or anything, or your guidance counselor. I'm not your guidance counselor, but I'm just saying, I have a sense of adventure. I've even felt locked down the last few years. I'm still would want to get into an RV maybe next year, when my lease is up. But I've had a lot of adventure in my life, I can say. People who followed my show for a long time, that know my story. And that's not to brag, but that's who I am. I was just being real to myself. So maybe you don't want an adventure. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to be in Space Force. I don't know. NASA reveals its plan for Artemis Basecamp on the moon that will become home to 4 astronauts in 2024 as they gear up for first trip to Mars. Astronauts, a whole other story. I couldn't go into the astronaut things because I feel there's so much mind control attached to that. I feel like there's a lot of deception. There's an obvious Freemason connection. Anytime you are forced to become a Freemason to achieve something, it's not worth it, in my opinion. So that's kind of a whole different story from me being an astronaut. I don't know. NASA's released a detailed plan for Artemis Basecamp. 13-page document highlights elements such as terrain vehicle for transporting the astronauts around the landing zone, a permanent habit, and a mobility platform to travel across the lunar surface. The plan suggests a crew of 4 astronauts would call the moon home for a week at a time, but also describes accommodations with water, waste disposal systems, and radiation shields if their time is extended. The Artemis mission will use the moon as its stepping stone, allowing the crew to test robots and other technologies before exploring farther into the solar system, with Mars being their next stop. Wow. It's an actual picture from space right there, from the moon. Ha! Just kidding. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said, after 20 years of continuously living in low Earth orbit, we're now ready for the next great challenge of space exploration, the development of a sustained presence on and around the moon. For years to come, Artemis will serve as our North Star as we continue to work toward even greater exploration of the moon, where we will demonstrate key elements needed for the first human mission to Mars. I think my friend Casey from Enter the Stars did a video on Artemis, on this Artemis project. I'm not sure. I think he did. Thought he did. Artemis prepares for Mars. Pretty crazy, huh? I know. Some people are like, we're not going to live to see it. We're not going to get out of the lockdown. It's over. The FEMA region's activated. They're going to kick your door down. They're going to take you to the camps. Pope Francis drops Vicar of Christ title in Vatican yearbook. Just nothing that comes out of this fella surprises me. I got a real weird video about him tonight. Real weird. It's footage. Something that happened. Spoiler alert, he disappears on live TV. You'll have to see it for yourself. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a camera glitch. Maybe he's a hologram. Maybe he's a spirit. I need to finish the story first. The title Vicar of Jesus Christ stems from Holy Scripture, where Jesus grants St. Peter the power of the keys in the church. In a surprise move, Pope Francis has dropped the historic and essential title from the 2020 Pontifical Yearbook, the Holy See's annual directory, relegating the title to a footnote, calling it a historical title. While previous yearbooks listed the title Vicar of Christ and the name of the reigning pope under that title, This year's annual directory simply lists the name Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the name of the man who became Pope Francis in 2013. A photo of this year's yearbook was published by Rome-based journalist Marco Tassati. This reminds me, in such a strange way, of when Google officially dropped their slogan, "Don't be evil." That was a news story. Do you remember that from just a couple of years ago? Because their slogan used to be "Don't be evil" or "Do not be evil." A couple of years ago, they officially said, "We're dropping that." I mean, it's nice to know they have a conscience, I guess, on there. Somebody over there has a conscience. But anyway, there we go. The Pope. The last Pope? Is that the last Pope? Is that the false prophet? Italians are rising up against globalism and European Union over the virus response. It's another one I was wanting to show you. I was saying is people are starting to rise up a bit. Patriots all over Italy are burning the EU flags while playing the Italian national anthem and posting videos of it with the hashtag, an Italian word which translates to "we will save ourselves." Italy has been hit hard by the virus outbreak with more deaths than any other country, and the EU is still demanding payments. Despite the US recording more cases of the virus, Italy has roughly 4 times as many deaths from the disease. The devastation has now led Italians to question the value of globalism and more specifically ask why they should remain a member of the European Union after the bloc has failed them during their time of need. Anti-EU sentiment is now endemic in Italy. That's great news. It's great news. Following the UK's Brexit, and Italian politicians are ramping up discussions about quitting the EU as Italian citizens across the country begin burning EU flags. There's also growing frustration and anger from other EU nations over the superstate's virus response. After Italy threatened to quit the EU, Portugal also lashed out. The virus pandemic has sparked an unprecedented crisis with a huge rift erupting between the 27 member states of the European Union. Here we go. Good stuff. People rising up. And I know. I could hear some Debbie Downers out there. Well, but we know what's coming. Guillotines, and it's all going to be this, and it's all going to be that. I know. We know the end of the story, but we don't know when that happens or when it has to happen. Perhaps, that's the other thing. That's the big question. What do you do? Just, sit in a rocking chair and just pray all day? And just, hey, God, please don't let globalism take over. Right? Thanks. Or do we fight back? Do we fight the system? It's not just globalism you're fighting when you're fighting stuff like this. We're fighting the Antichrist spirit. You're doing something. We're fighting back. Maybe the fight's with information. Maybe it's just with sharing information that's good information. Whatever it is, we all have different ways we can fight and stand up. Stand up. Don't let evil prevail in our world the best we can. Fight back, or it'll take us over a lot quicker. So it's good to see the people rise up and stand. It's good to see people fighting against these things. Here's a really good example of another ship UFO, really good, clear one. This is from UFO Mania. This is a UFO stationed over the city of Barcelona during a thunderstorm. This is from just 2 days ago, but this is a good capture. Check this out. There's no audio on this. He's got the robot voice. I've mentioned he's from France, the guy that has this channel, so he always does English-speaking robot voice, for his videos. Pretty good example, though. Looks like an actual ship. Yeah. Seems to be fixed. The lights are staying in the same spot, just twinkling on and off. Seems to be a ship. And there's a good shot of it. Interesting, eh? An actual craft. Why are we starting to see these things? We saw the other craft I showed you earlier. It flew right over that city. I don't know. Here's a cool one. This is from Andre Molina. YouTube channel, and he captured in Peru a UFO actually landing. Check this out.
Sana. Susi. Sana. Ya. Salga a la cancha. Venga. Ya que suena. No veo eso que me está cayendo por un lado. Pues marica, ya me dio miedo. Ya en el cielo. Eso no es una cometa. Está bajando. Viene por usted, Susana.
Güey.
No, lo hizo. ¿Y eso es para por donde Pedro?
Vale, se vale.
Ay, sí.
Pero se metió. Se bajó. Ay.
That was it. It doesn't come back up. Would you go up there in those woods to see what it is? If that was you, if you recorded this, could be that. I mean, it's hard to tell what maybe, again, I don't know. It's hard to tell. A couple 100, 300 yards away, 400 yards away, maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to say what's over that. Is that a mountain right there? And is it a big drop off on the other side? I'm not sure. But if you wanted to get over there, I'm sure you could get a motorcycle, jump in a truck, or just, I don't know, take a walk, But would you go look? Would you want to go look, or would you just be too scared and be like, no, I'm not going to do it? Not that there's anything wrong with that either. It might save your life. I don't know. But then there's going to be some people who wouldn't want to go look, and there's going to be people who would want to go look. I feel like I would want to go look, but I wouldn't want to get too close. So I don't know. But try to get close, try to get a look, but from far away. Check it out first, because maybe it is nothing. Maybe it's just a weather balloon or something. I don't know. This is pretty sick. Scammers on the dark web offer to sell blood and saliva of someone they claim has the virus for $1,000 as others create fake vaccines and tests to sell paranoid victims. The scam ad found on the dark web market site Own Shop by Vice News claims to offer the blood for a hefty price tag of $1,000. I do this to provide for my family financially, the vendor claims. The ad is just one of many on various scams on the deep market where products are offered that purportedly serve as a test or a treatment for the virus. Tests, temperature detectors, and even a few fake vaccines have appeared. There are currently no cures or vaccines that have been proved effective against the virus, it says. The limited availability of virus testing, especially in countries like the U.S., leads to demand for such products in black markets. Global intelligence firm Instructs said in a Tuesday report. In all likelihood, however, these products are in no way real, and buyers would be scammed out of their money. Cyber criminals are registering websites using tags like, Corona and COVID to lure people into believing they're official domains. Instructs found an exponential rise in the number of domains registered using those terms. There were only 190 registered in those words in the entire of 2019, followed by well over 1,400 by this January, and over 5,000 in February, and more than staggering 38,000 now in March. Wow. It's capitalizing, though, isn't it? Capitalizing on this whole thing. Some are legit, but the vast majority are made by shady entities. The intelligence firm also found that ransomware groups were also using the pandemic to force people to pay to unlock and use their computers. If I want, I could even infect your whole family with the virus, reveal all your secrets. There are countless things I could do, one hacker wrote. Instructs found that some people could be gullible for such an obvious farce. These types of fear tactics work on vulnerable population of people during a frightening pandemic, the report states. Threat actors use these fear tactics because they work. We've also observed similar psychological tactics used in sextortion scams, in which the threat actor tells the victim that he has access to the victim's camera or photos with evidence of wrongdoing. Groups have also tried sending malware inside documents designed to look like official health documents from the likes of China. One group has even sent out a malicious version of the Johns Hopkins coronavirus map that has been heavily circulated. Even the World Health Organization has seen an uptick in cyber attacks since the outbreak began. Hackers are relentlessly targeting healthcare networks, endpoints, and Internet of Things devices in hopes to make money, the report says. All right, we get it. There you have it. Don't buy that stuff. If you're on the dark web and you see one of these ads pop up, hey man, down with the C virus, feeling kind of blue, check this out. Look what I've got for just $1,000. I'm going to play this out just because a lot of people this past week or so have been sending this to me, this Out of the Shadows trailer for this movie Out of the Shadows. I'm going to try to get on a different YouTube version of it because this is Vice and it's Vice Gaming. I don't know if that's the same thing. Maybe they won't strike. Maybe I can. Nope, there's music in there. I guess I'll try to play some here. Oh, it's the whole movie. I was just going to show you the trailer. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let me find the trailer. Out of the Shadows. Have you heard of this? But this is one of these things that the guy just made, I guess, over the last couple of weeks, and people just pushed it up to where it's like, I mean, on this guy's YouTube channel with only 10,000 subs, it's already at 1.7 million views on this guy's channel. So, and it's been put up other places as well. And I mean, it's just taken off like wildfire. The thing about it is that it's all stuff that we know. This is what I took away from it. I didn't find any new information in this, and it's not knocking it. I mean, this is a good red pill type thing. It is a good red pill type introduction or whatever, I think. But most of us, we know this stuff. We're actually, I would say we're probably far beyond kind of this kind of stuff. But I would still say it's a really good red pill type, movie for people to check out. This guy was a Hollywood stuntman. And I guess basically he took the red pill. I think he's into Q as well. Somehow I think all this is associated with the Q stuff, I think. Or Q groups. He's a patriot. But again, I don't know. And you can't just damn it all if you don't like the Q stuff. I don't trust a lot of the Q stuff either. But there's still a lot of good people in those groups, good-hearted people, just like the Tea Party was. There's some really good-hearted, innocent people in the Tea Party. And then as time went on, I feel bad people kind of took over the Tea Party and led it in some bad directions. But so whatever. But just, it's by individual basis, not just by a group or organization. That's how I try to look at it. But Out of the Shadows, good one to check out. Let me see if I can't just find the trailer, though, either way. Out of the Shadows. Trailer. Of course, the perfect example of what's wrong with YouTube, or just one of the examples. YouTube is so broken. Look at this. Oh, well, it's Out of the Shadows, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, and then it's Game of Shadows, Sherlock Holmes. Among the Shadows, Lindsay Lohan horror movie. Never heard of it. Okay. I'm not seeing our trailer. This is YouTube now, guys. This is YouTube. This is why nobody can find your channel anymore. Let's try Out of the Shadows trailer. Oh. Well, it's still going to keep pulling it up with Out of the Shadows. Whatever. Just look it up. Look up Out of the Shadows trailer if you're interested. You can find the full movie. I just had it up there. You can find the full movie on YouTube. Go back and just kind of take a look at the screen on whatever the screen was I had up. You can find it. I think I named the guy's, what was the name? Vice Music or Vice Gaming or something's channel. Anyway, CBC, that's a Canadian, I think it's, is it Canadian Broadcasting Company? I'm not sure. CBC instructs kids on how to shut down their parents' conspiracy theories. The presenter or a CBC News report gives kids advice on how to shut down so-called conspiracy theories voiced by their parents about the C virus being created by China in a lab. Oh boy. Turning the kids against the parents. The presenter laments how somebody's dad may drop a message into chatting blaming China for, quote, manufacturing the virus with the link to a site we've never heard of. Translation, a link that's not good, God forbid mainstream media. The piece then features a woman from a group that combats misinformation online, those are in quotes, who urges the son or daughter not to get confrontational with their dad, but to accuse him of being accurate and stirring fear. This says, where's this? Let's look at this real quick. Oh, I guess this is it. Let's just watch it.
Dad drops into the family group chat with something he thinks is real. It's something about China manufacturing the coronavirus. There's a link to a site you've never heard of with a message calling it scary stuff. So what do you do with this? Do you ignore it? Do you call him out saying how ridiculous you think this is?
If you do that to your dad, you've actually shamed him. My name is Claire Wardle and I'm the US Director of First Draft. And we are a non-profit that we help people navigate the challenges of misinformation online. What happens is that your dad doubles down on his view and he dismisses what you're saying. Use language that's empathetic and to say we're all in this together. And rather than you're wrong, I'm right, here are the facts, because that does not work.
So hold back on all that reactive talk. Maybe try something like this. Yeah, these are scary times. We're all a bit afraid, but let's be careful. What you're sharing is inaccurate and it feeds into that fear we all feel.
Everybody's anxiety is so heightened right now. People are sharing this stuff not for any malicious reasons, but because they're scared too.
Sending more context could also be a good move, but don't drown them in evidence. Maybe send an article from a legitimate source quoting credible scientists on why the virus wasn't manufactured. Conspiracies can be just as infectious, just as dangerous as a virus, so you have to guard against them.
It's very easy to just mute your crazy high school friend on Facebook or to leave a WhatsApp group where people are sharing false information. But right now, I actually think there's kind of a responsibility on all of us to help people understand that sharing that kind of information is increasing the level of pollution.
There's a couple of dangerous women right there, I say. Dangerous. It's dangerous people. Mind control right there. Good example. Mind control. Oh, there's no way that this was created in a lab in China. I mean, God, come on, guys. That's racist. Relax, all right? It was because somebody was eating bat soup. It's one of the dumbest things ever. I remember that's one of the first excuses they came out with. Remember there was videos of some lady had a whole bat in a big bowl of some kind of soup. And the bat was still moving around, and she's sitting there biting its arm, while it's still kind of moving around. And that was the footage they put out. That was the first thing. This is where it came from. She was eating the bat soup, and then No, there's been plenty of evidence that's come out since then. And even interesting symbolism, connections we found as well, that show that it's no doubt this is obviously something that was man-made and created. And more than one source out there, multiple sources are putting it right back to Wuhan. There's another interesting story about Wuhan coming up too, another one about little propaganda there, we'll say. So there we go, guys. There we go. There's some mind control for you. I guess this is what they want your children to see. Look at this, the responses. CBC equals Uncle Bob, because they're saying, is Uncle Bob spreading C-19 misinformation in the family group chat? And let us explain to you how you can put Uncle Bob in his place, all right, and have him accept your point of view. Anyway, there you have it. There's that. Fake news sites told you distrusting China over C virus was dangerous. Oh, I guess that's a list of them. Now that the numerous virology experts are on record as saying it cannot be dismissed, and multiple government intelligence sources have confirmed that investigations are underway into the possibility that the C virus leaked from an unsafe Wuhan biolab, and China lied about the true scale of the outbreak, here's a timely reminder of the scores of fake news outlets that for weeks and months dismissed both notions as baseless conspiracy theories. Oh, and this is on Summit News, by the way. Here's just some. Guardian still says it's a conspiracy theory. Fox, the conspiracy theories about the origins of the C virus debunked. Reuters, China lab says conspiracy theories hurting efforts to curb virus. Telegraph, coronavirus scams and conspiracy theories that have gone viral. USA Today, fact check, did the coronavirus originate in a Chinese lab? The Scientist, theory that coronavirus escaped from lab lacks evidence. And the list goes on and on. It's all the usual suspects. Snopes is in there, BuzzFeed. Oh, of course, fact check. Factcheck.org. So there you go. Elon Musk. What I find most surprising is that CNN still exists. Last month, Musk said in a tweet that he had obtained the ventilators due to China having an oversupply, will be shipping them free to hospitals that required them. CNN published a story claiming that none of the promised ventilators have been received by hospitals, citing Governor Gavin Newsom's office. Musk responded by tweeting, "What I find most surprising is that CNN still exists." He then posted an email exchange which shows a Los Angeles County Department of Health Services official thanking Tesla for receiving the ventilators. "Hey, Philip, do you know if these ventilators went into use?" asks Tesla's Omid Ashfar. "They worked great during testing today," responded Philip Franks. All right, get it. We get it. Elon Musk, he's a very interesting character, isn't he? I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying he's interesting. Just an interesting character. The stuff he's doing with Neuralink, of course, is a concern. I think it's a concern. That obviously could lead, and he's openly talked about putting chips in people's brains and all that stuff. So, this isn't good. If this is the role it seems like he may be playing, this is not good. But like any great Bond villain, he can also be very charming and witty and, interesting. Does some weird stunts, but there's just so many strange stories around him. Like when they had that whole goofy thing about sending a Tesla into space with the astronaut. Remember that? Anyway. German lawyer who criticized lockdown arrested, taken to psych ward. Wow. A German medical lawyer who criticized the C virus lockdown law was arrested and taken to a psychiatric ward where she says she was violently abused by authorities. Beat Bonner published a press release on April 3rd decrying the German lockdown laws as, quote, flagrantly unconstitutional, infringing to an unprecedented extent many of the fundamental rights of citizens, unquote. And I think that's the truth. I believe that's the truth. These measures are not just, we know that's what they want anyway. These measures are not justified by the Infection Prevention Act hurriedly amended just a few days ago, she asserted. Long-term restrictions on leaving home and meeting others based on high death rate modeled scenarios which fail to take account of actual critical expert opinions, and the complete shutdown of businesses and shops with no proof that they pose any risk of infection are thoroughly unlawful, unquote. Bonner called for a nationwide protest on Easter Sunday to, quote, end the tyranny at once, before Heidelberg police announced that they would seek to prosecute her for inciting Germans to break the law. On April 13th, Bonner called her sister from Heidelberg's psychiatric clinic, describing what happened to her. After claiming she was suspiciously followed by a car, Bonner says she asked another motorist to call the police, only for the police to show up, handcuff her, and push her to the ground with massive force. After being driven to the psychiatric facility, she says she was treated like a terrorist. She says, "I asked to be allowed to sit down and was shown to a bench. Then I asked to have the handcuffs taken off, since it was actually I who had requested police protection," she recounted. "But instead, I was thrown to the floor again, having my head hurled onto the stone floor from a meter height, which nobody reacted to. Then I was forced to spend the night lying on the floor in some high-security Guantanamo psychiatric clinic. There was no toilet, no sink, though they did allow me water. and there was a bell I could ring, though they ignored it after the third time I pressed it. The lawyer was charged for incitement yesterday, with her attorney sounding the alarm bell over her treatment. I shouldn't have to add Bonner's claims of very grave abuse have untoward connotations of the darkest chapters of German history, he said. The mere fact she claimed to have been so badly abused was what prompted me to write to you. Bonner is in the company of over 50 well-known experts in criticizing the nationwide lockdown. I'd be glad to furnish you with a list of their names. If it really is the case, lawyers critical of government measures can now be intimidated using the state legal apparatus or psychiatry and can be professionally and socially destroyed, then it is 5 minutes to midnight in this country. That's some scary stuff. Anonymous man spends over $82,000 on gift cards to send to every resident in one town. It's from 3 days ago, April 14th. Cool, huh? An anonymous donor spent over $82,000 on gift cards to help residents and small businesses in a small Iowa town, helped them to stay afloat during financially straining times. About 30 miles outside of Des Moines, Iowa, sits the town of Earlham, with a population of roughly 1,450 and 549 households. Earlham residents have been hit hard by the C virus pandemic. There's a lot of hardship out there. People are worried and hurting, the mayor said. But an anonymous donor stepped in to keep the town's handful of businesses afloat by purchasing over $82,000 worth of gift cards, a surprise that Lily, 40, struggled to keep a secret from citizens while the logistics smoothed out. The donor offered to buy 549 gift cards from each of the town's 3 main businesses: Hometown Market, the town's sole grocery store, West Side Bar and Grill, a favorite restaurant, and Trostel's Broken Branch, a brand new eatery in town. In total, the donor bought all the gift cards totaling $82,000. Each household in town received 3 gift cards by mail with $50 on each card. That's pretty cool, huh? Lily told the Des Moines Register the kind gesture left him in tears. As the mayor of a small town making the decision to close our community centers and city hall and our library and all of the other bad decisions that we've been forced to make. And then here's this really great thing. It just tore down my walls, he said. After speaking with the 3 business owners, Lily said he broke down, thinking of how many hearts would be encouraged. I went home, and when my wife looked at me, I started bawling, he said. I'm a working blue-collar guy, and this just hit me like a ton of bricks. I knew how much this would mean to so many. Beautiful. It's getting me choked up reading it. I got to stop. Hero, Patriots shut down Drag Queen Story Hour live stream event on Instagram. That is good news. Right, again, it's good. This is... People ask how we can fight back sometimes. This is a good example. It's nonviolent, which is always most important. You try to do everything in a spirit of love. It's nonviolent, but it's standing up, standing up against these things, letting your numbers and your voices be heard. A group of America First patriots successfully forced a shutdown of a planned Instagram live stream of Drag Queen Story Hour on Saturday. Unable to groom children in public due to the virus pandemic, Drag Queen Story Hour has gone digital. They're urging neglectful parents to allow their roster of cross-dressing predators to read smut to their kids via the internet. Drag Queen Story Hour is committed to creating diverse, accessible, and safe spaces, so we wanted to share a brief update on our programming. Indeed, your programming and grooming amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Most importantly, all DQSH events are produced locally and independently, so our chapters and event organizers will determine whether events can safely move forward or if it's better to cancel, postpone, they wrote on their official site. They added, we are strongly encouraging all organizers to consult with their local libraries, venues, governments, and community leaders to take into account public health measures and to consider the needs of our most at-risk members. Okay. According to their Facebook page, they have 13 additional live streams set up throughout the months of April and May. They hope to start holding physical events in mid-May where they can warp young minds and recruit precocious children into their reprobate lifestyle. However, with patriotic activists colluding heroically to shut down this degeneracy, it is unclear whether or not these proposed live streams will actually take place. Houston Mass Resistance uncovered that William Travis Dees, who is a member of drag queen group called the Space City Sisters, has been participating in drag queen story hour events in the town. Dees is a child sex offender who brags about his time as a transgender prostitute. He was photographed at a drag queen story hour event carrying a rubber chicken, a symbol used by homosexuals to indicate a sexual preference for young boys. Dees' stage name is Lisa Lott, and he has served as a, quote, greeter during story hour to give himself special access to children as their parents usher them in to have their souls warped. Houston Mass Resistance activists uncovered records showing Dees once victimized children as young as 4 years old with his assaults. Dees was convicted in 2004 of sex crimes against 4 young children, 4, 5, 6, and 8, was jailed and is listed as a high-risk sex offender. Mass resistance activists have also identified numerous aliases which Dees uses for his various characters and personas, the whistleblowers wrote. Since Dees was 16 years old at the time of his conviction, his record is sealed and not posted on government sites. However, it's available from other sex offender record sources, they added. There you go. There you have it. I reckon there's quite a bit of those sex offenders hiding in that particular group. Twitter founder to send $1 billion to population control groups. I like the first part. Twitter founder to send $1 billion. It's like awesome. And then it's to population control groups. It's what they want. It's what these egomaniacs want, isn't it? It's what they always want. Thanos wanted it. Remember, Thanos wanted it? Also, there's another comic book villain, Armageddon. I can't remember. Was that the X-Men movies? Maybe it was that, but there's a comic movie I saw a while back. Armageddon was the bad guy, and he wanted the same thing Thanos did. He'd wipe out like half the people in the universe or whatever, to wipe out a lot of humanity. And that's what these people do. How else are they going to get off? They have all this money. I don't think that, like, some of these people in particular don't have Christ, or they wouldn't be so worldly. I think a lot of them turn out to be atheists or agnostics. I wonder how many of them are secretly Luciferian. I always wonder about that. I've been watching Silicon Valley, just for news from there and for any weird bits I can find for the last few years. I would love to do a big video on all the people and weirdness there, but I've got some stuff, but just not enough yet. I know there's more. I got to keep digging. But yeah, these people they're creepers. They're creepers. To me, they're kind of like those effeminate men in charge in Hunger Games. Is kind of the vibe I get from some of these people. It's just like Bill Gates, another one. He's just kind of he's nebbish, and he's kind of he looks like a little troll or something. Again, I know you're not supposed to judge people on their looks, but in his case, I wonder, because he didn't always look that way. I mean, can evil inside you as time goes on? Does it eventually just kind of show itself? Does it all start pouring out? It shows itself in your wrinkles and your lines and just in your movements and your everything, doesn't it? If you're filled with dark thoughts and evil and killing other people and controlling humanity, doesn't that eventually leak out? Doesn't it eventually start to show? He still looks young and healthy. This one does, but maybe give him some time. Maybe he's new to this let's control the world evil thing. I'm not sure. I don't know about old Jack, but I don't like the way he runs his site. Most of you know it's all political over there, and there's lots of censorship and all kinds of foolishness and pushing agendas and narratives, and all has to do with global warming and the hoaxes with with the global warming hoax. All one world stuff. All these people, they're globalists. They're all into the one world thing. And the Bible told us about this already. Like, well, what? Yeah, I mean, most of us know that, but in the Bible it talks about there's going to be a one world system, a one world government at the end, a one world leader. one world religion. Well, that's what these people, whether they know it or not, you could say, are moving towards. That's why I wonder how many of these people are secretly Luciferian, you know, and they get it. I know some of them are. You know, I just feel some of them are, but I'm always looking for proof. Any little strange things. A really good example is, it just came out. I don't even know if I put it up here tonight, but most of you have seen it by now. I'm probably going to put it as a smaller piece to a bigger video. But Microsoft was just did a new commercial recently, and it was all about Marina Abramovic, which is, to me, she's like this generation's Aleister Crowley, a highly revered witch, you know, in Hollywood, by Hollywood celebs, by politicians, leaders of industry. One of these people. She was in the WikiLeaks. It's when people really started finding out more about her. She was in WikiLeaks. Spirit cooking, Podesta. A witch, though. I believe a truly evil person. I've done a few videos about some things with her. You can look it up yourself. Anything with Marina Abramovic. But they did a video because apparently they're doing a VR, virtual reality, which is connected to 5G, by the way, and I did a video on that as well. There's a connection between 5G and virtual reality. But they got these VR things coming out, and the program's going to be about Marina Abramovic. I believe she's the lady in red in the VR. I think she's wearing red. At least at one point she was in the images I saw. And you're going to get to spend time with Marina Abramovic in virtual reality. What could go wrong? You know, but the witch, but it's from Microsoft. Madonna did a video recently, put it on Instagram, where she's saying she was going to back Bill Gates now, and the whole time she's wearing a picture of Lucifer hanging on a cross as she's talking about this. So I see things like that, you know, I see things like this, and that's what makes me wonder about what spirit drives people. Mother who had sex with family dog. Oof. Then hanged her young kids, faces execution. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Every now and then I'll find these really crazy news stories. It's one right here. Just what is going on? A mother accused of having sex with her pet pit bull before fatally hanging her children could be executed if convicted. Prosecutors have pushed for Lisa Snyder to be tried with capital murder over the deaths of her 8-year-old son and her 4-year-old daughter in their home in Pennsylvania, Berks County, Pennsylvania, in September 2019. But this story came out April 11th, 2020. So I got it. Aggravating factors put before an arraignment hearing last month include the number of the victims, their age, and the fact that the crimes were committed in tandem with another felony. Snyder's alleged sexual intercourse with her family's dog. A judge has yet to decide whether Snyder should face those upgraded counts. Snyder was charged with her children's murder in December 2019, having initially claimed that Connor had murdered his sister before hanging himself. Wow. The alleged killer said her son had complained about being bullied and also said that he had expressed suicidal thoughts, but told her that he did not want to die alone. Snyder claimed to have found the youngsters hanging from the same dog lead draped over a beam afterwards with 2 upturned chairs under them. The children were rushed to a nearby emergency room and died after being taken off life support 3 days later. Prosecutor Margaret McCollum rubbished Snyder's version of events at a previous hearing, telling the court, Connor was incapable of doing this to himself. He was incapable of doing this to his sister. Looked like a couple of good little kids, huh? McCollum said Snyder had only bought the lead used in the children's, or the lead, sorry. I was like, what is that? McCollum said Snyder had only bought the lead used in the children's deaths the day before. Or the lead, I was right the first time. Okay, the dog lead, sorry. They're used in the children's deaths the day before, and added that a child Connor's age would not have had that dexterity needed to tie the knots ultimately used to kill him and his sister. Police went on to discover that Connor was happy at school and had lots of friends, with teachers dismissing his mother's claims that he was being bullied, the Morning Call reported. Several weeks before the children's death, Snyder reportedly shared a live video of herself having sex with the dog and wrote, he's eating my you-know-what, Daddy. Gross. I threw in the gross there. He keeps moving every time the flash goes off, Snyder wrote in an apparent reference to her pet. And hours later, she sent a photo of black and white dog performing oral sex on her. Wow. Wow. Who thinks of this stuff? The alleged bestiality was uncovered during a police investigation into the kids' deaths. Snyder's friend Jessica Sent told the court that the alleged killer had plotted to kill herself if she was freed on bail. Well, keep her in jail. Wow. Wow. Just who? Wow. Where does this stuff come from, huh? Oh, I don't even know how this snuck under my radar. I stumbled on this one recently, too. Somebody made a documentary about Morgellons. It's called Skin Deep, The Battle Over Morgellons. You guys heard about this? Morgellons is one of those interesting subjects. I've always found it, not that it's the same thing, but kind of in the same realm as TI, as targeted individuals. Because it's one of those things where you'll have a lot of people have some really good proofs of these things happening. But then on the other hand, you'll find just as many, a lot of it's just in their mind. You see what I'm saying? So, but Morgellons has always been one of those very interesting topics. People have asked me about it throughout the years. I've never found much on it that I was super interested in or that I thought there was a lot of truth in. I just kind of would look at it sometimes and then drop it. That's always been my feeling with it. But, check this out. I'm going to watch this myself when I can, but we'll watch this trailer together here. All right.
When you first dig on the internet, you're going to see all kinds of crazy theories. Worms, Martians, Columbella, chemtrails.
Few patients go public with a diagnosis of Morgellons disease because of the ridicule and doubt that can follow. One celebrity who has spoken about having Morgellons is singer Joni Mitchell, who was recently hospitalized in Los Angeles.
See, I feel like digging that out right now. It's that uncomfortable.
Several of my patients would have these strange fibers coming out of them. Lesions that would spontaneously appear and very slowly heal, filaments, black specks coming out of the skin, joint pain, fatigue, sleep disturbance, brain fog, the list goes on.
Morgellons disease is a delusion.
Morgellons is a real disease, there's no question about it.
You can only have so much skin shedding and bleeding before somebody notices, but you have to make something up or say it's something else because there's no such thing as Morgellons disease.
I made the mistake of saying Morgellons. The ER physician actually escorted me out. My discharge instructions were quit picking at yourself.
It takes tremendous courage to look at a situation and really ask yourself if you're being delusional.
This is what mental illness looks like right here.
Borrelia seems to be present in 100% of the Morgellons samples that we've looked at.
Our conclusion is that Morgellons disease might be a manifestation of Lyme disease.
Don't jump from, hey, she's got little spots on her, to here, take a freaking happy pill. That's what you do, and you shouldn't be in medicine, Bubba.
Morgellons and delusions of parasitosis are exactly the same thing.
And we need to educate young doctors that Morgellons disease is real.
You think that all those labs are wrong?
Oh, obviously they're wrong. It's ridiculous.
Our right to decent patient care is real.
He would say, I will get Morgellons disease recognized in my lifetime, or I will have died trying. And he died trying, but I'm going to do it.
Our suffering is real.
Looks really good, huh? I think it does. So you can find that on morgellonsmovie.org. Movie's called Skin Deep, The Battle for Morgellons. I think any one of us would like to see that. So yeah, check it out. Oh, what is this? Oh, this was an attack that took place over the virus. Let's watch this. It's just a quick little news story here.
2 at 6, you reached out to us asking us to take a good look into a video that's been going viral on social media. Thousands of people weighing in on what has been described as a social distancing attack. Haley Minogue spent the day digging for more information about who is in the video and what is going to happen next.
19 patients.
This video posted on Reddit over the weekend. The poster says they were with friends at Norton Commons and admits they were failing to social distance. They say they were attacked by a couple claiming to be physicians. The video shows a man who the poster says choked one of the girls who was present and shoved and hit others who were there. LMPD did take a report of the altercation and sent it to us this morning. They wrote, "We are aware of this video, and officers from the 8th Division responded to a call of an incident Friday and took a report. Obviously, we do not advise individuals concerned about social distancing to take matters into their own hands and confront people about it, especially in any physical way." We haven't named the man, even though we've seen all of your posts and your emails about who he is. Here's why. The man in the video has not been charged. Please posts and your emails about who he is. Here's why. The man in the video has not been charged. Police are still investigating and are citing a law that allows them not to name the person because he's only a suspect. We reached out to people that were in the video and the couple that were his aggressors in the post. None of them wanted to talk about what happened.
She's just saying that nobody wanted to talk about it. What I'm thinking when I see that is that if that guy really is a doctor, because it says Dr. John Raidmaker. I guess that was Dr. John Raidmaker. Is that right? Anyway, it says they're painting it in the racist thing here down here. It says, so Dr. John Raidmaker gets on a black child about social black child. I miss black child. Man, I keep waiting for black child to come back. And I hope he's doing okay out there. And black child, if you're listening, you know you were always one of my favorites forever. And I reached out to him from time to time, but man, you should email me if you're listening right now. Please let us know you're okay. I'll tell people. So people wonder, people wonder about you. If you guys don't know, Black Child was a YouTube channel. He has another one up now called Black Child Reloaded, but I hadn't put anything up there in a long time. But just really, really interesting stuff. I just always really liked the gift he has. I like the way he made videos. I like the things he could uncover and find, and just always liked him a lot, So anyway, but this says, get on Black Child about social distancing only to break the rules of social distancing, trying to choke her out. My point of saying that is this. If that guy really is a doctor, these girls in this video, I mean, free ride, man. Free ride. I imagine someone's probably going to get sued. They've got the video, and I don't know what kind of human beings these people are, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of these girls, as soon as they got through filming this, or maybe as soon as they found out who this guy was, or he's a doctor or whatever, suddenly started getting a neck ache, or maybe a lower back ache, or suddenly they're having trouble sleeping. They just keep picturing the doctor. He's coming at me with his red shirt, and he put his hands around my neck. And no. I mean, I'm just saying, some people, that would be a prime opportunity for somebody, because they could really clean that guy's clock. They could take everything, I would think. Now that maybe they can do, maybe he's rich enough to have good lawyers that'll turn it into a thing about, there's something under the pandemic and they were trying to stop, and I don't know. Who knows? But it would be interesting. Hey! Oh, that scared me for a second. Sorry. Iranian Angelina Jolie catches the virus in jail on ventilator, this says, and this is from just earlier today. This is from April 17th. I think I've done a few stories with her in it throughout the years. She's popped up in the news a few times. So sad, man, isn't it? I mean, to me, that is just so sad what she did to herself, and the fact that she thinks that looks like Angelina Jolie. I wonder what Angelina Jolie thinks about this. Sahar Tabar, C19, Fatima Kishvand, Iranian Angelina Jolie, zombie Instagram star, denied jail release and now on ventilator as she fights for her life. The Instagram star, known for her transformation into a zombie Angelina Jolie. They left the zombie out. I see that. Is currently on a ventilator after contracting the virus in custody, according to a human rights organization. Lawyers for her, going by Sahar Tabar on Instagram, had asked her to be released amid the country's C-19 outbreak, but a judge refused to grant bail, according to U.S.-based Center for Human Rights in Iran. We find it unacceptable that this young woman has now caught the C virus in these circumstances, while her detention order has been extended during all this time in jail. Human rights lawyer Payam Durafshin told the organization. Kishvan, 22, was arrested in October amid a nationwide crackdown on Instagram celebrities. What? Arrested in October amid a nationwide crackdown on Instagram celebrities. She faces a slew of charges, including blasphemy, inciting violence, and encouraging the corruption of young people for expressing herself on her widely followed Instagram account. Instagram is the only social media app available in Iran, with Facebook and Twitter banned. Wow. Sucks. The zombie Angelina Jolie lookalike faces years in prison for engaging in peaceful freedom of expression on her personal Instagram account and has been charged with corruption on earth. That's in quotes. Corruption on earth. Incitement to corruption by encouraging youth to engage in lunacy and insulting the sacred and acquiring illicit income. Wow. According to the Center for Human Rights in Iran. We think we have it bad here. Kishvan rose to fame in 2017 after claiming that she had had 50 surgeries to look like her favorite star and posting selfies showing her hollowed cheeks, inflated lips, and cartoonish upturned nose. The emaciated look was actually created with the help of makeup and digital editing. Last year, she shared images with her tens of thousands of followers showing what she actually looks like. Judge Mohammed Mogesh repeatedly denied to release her on bail as the C virus spread across the country and is now nowhere to be found. Jail officials in Tehran denied that the Instagram star had caught the illness, a claim her lawyer repudiated. It seems like it's become a habit for the authorities to deny everything, Durafshin told somebody. It makes no sense to deny this. The prison director should acknowledge the infection and admit she has been hospitalized. The attorney called on authorities to release her and other inmates detained on nonviolent charges amid the outbreak. Many women in Shahreh prison have contacted my colleague and me about the terrible situation inside the prison and the fear that exists among the inmates due to the virus. We want the authorities to issue a general order to allow these prisoners to be temporarily released in the absence of judges who are sick or not coming to work. This is the only solution. Wow. There you have it. Speaking of Instagram, 56-year-old Johnny Depp joins Instagram for the first time, gets 1.8 million followers in one day. One of my subscribers sent me this. Thanks. I mean, I don't really, we could probably, I was just looking around here. It's in some kind of a cave, it looks like. But maybe we can find the video and see what he says. Let's see here. It says you can watch the whole thing below. All right, not letting me. Let's see. Oh, there we go. That's just a picture. You see, there's a video. There you go. There's a video. But my friend that sent it was saying about there's a checkerboard, like in front of him, and it could just be the game. We know, but we know he's connected to a lot of this. There's so much about Johnny Depp, even going back to the mysterious death of River Phoenix at the Viper Room. Man, there's so much. I've done a lot of videos and some compilations of clips, news clips and stuff on him throughout the years. I've got a few over on my YouTube channel or my website. Hopefully they're still there after Vimeo took 2 of my channels down out of 3. I need to go check on some of the videos on my website and make sure they're still there. But there's a lot about him that's just creepy and weird. And I perceive everything I've seen on him and learned about him that he's definitely an example of one of these guys. He's an obvious sellout to the satanic system. I'll have to do an updated video on him, like something strange is happening to Johnny Depp, but he's definitely a sellout. You can look up Johnny Depp Satanism in any search engine, Johnny Depp Illuminati, whatever. You find tons of stuff, but let's listen to some of this and see what this says. I'm curious.
Hi, everyone. Hello to whomever might be out there in Etherland receiving this transmission. This is my first experience within the world of social media. I've never done any of this before. I don't think I've really ever felt any particular reason to until now. Yeah, now is the time to open up a dialogue, as the threat of this invisible enemy has already caused immeasurable tragedies and enormous damage to people's lives. People are ill and without care. People are getting sick and fighting for breath. People are dying.
It looks like there's a demon dragon holding that candle in front of him on the checkerboard floor, so that's interesting.
As a result of this hideous global pandemic, some have lost their jobs. Not only their jobs, their only source of income, but many have also lost their businesses that they've worked long and hard to maintain for many, many years, and some, far too many, are living on the streets with no protection, no shelter, with no option of self-isolating at all. And so I feel we need to try to help each other throughout these dark times, these trying times for those we love, for our community, for ourselves, for the world, and for the future. And I know for the moment it feels like both of our hands are tied behind our backs. And to some degree, they are. But our minds are unbound, and our hearts are not chained. And we can care. And through caring, we will help each other, and we will prevail. Caring is as close as the eye can see. It's right in front of you at all times, if you just have a look. So, if you don't mind, please bear with me, and I'll try and sum up just how I ended up here, seemingly talking to myself, but with the hopes of reaching out to as many of you who may be looking for other ways to pass the time with the cards we've all been dealt. So for those of you who can tolerate yet another message of goodwill, here we go. First and foremost, and above all else, stay safe, stay well, and stay inside your homes. We need to make the best use of this time by being close to those we love. And despite our dire circumstances, we cannot and must not succumb to shutting down and giving in to what feels like hellish quarantine monotony. We need to keep ourselves curious, as this time in isolation can be used for great learning. And remember that today is today, and that's that, you know. There's going to be no refunds given tomorrow for having missed today. Today ain't coming back. So we have a responsibility to each other to approach these times with new strategies. Create something today that'll benefit yourselves and others tomorrow. Do anything you think could be of use to brighten someone's day. I can remember vividly, when my kids were growing up,
There's still a few minutes to go on this. You guys cool with hearing this? I think it's interesting just to hear what the man says. I mean, he's not known for coming out and doing this kind of thing, so it's interesting to hear from him. Also, too, I want to just correct something. Like I said, I feel he's a man that sold his soul. I believe that. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but I got to be careful about putting stuff like that out there because I don't want to slander a person. I wasn't in the room when he signed the deal. I don't know. Just everything I've seen on him and the movie choices and even things he said in interviews and even songs he sang about Jesus with his band and things like this. I've always got that feeling about him, but even with that, I don't hate him. I don't wish any bad things. When I see people like this and you see all the God-given gifts they have, and what they've done with it, some of the choices they made are the evil choices. It's like the gift is a beautiful thing from God, but what do we do with it? How do we use our abilities and gifts in this world? And so, I feel for these people. Anytime I see an Illuminati sellout, when these people doing all the signs and symbols and everything else, it's just you feel for them and you think, man, did you really need it that much here in this world? Did you really need it that quick, that easy? And the things you're going to have to do and the things you'll have to give up. But then I have to remember that there are tares. There's psychopaths, if you will, or just extreme narcissists. There's people in this world that aren't like regular human beings. Some people can be like real monsters or like robots or animals. It's crazy, but. So I don't know. I know I'm just rambling here, but let's watch a little more. It's only a few more minutes.
certain points when they come to me and they'd say, Dad, hey man, I'm bored, And my reaction was always the same. Boredom's not allowed. You're not allowed to be bored. There's always something to do. Always. Draw, read, paint, think, learn, make a film with your phone, play an instrument. If you play, if you don't, learn. If you don't have an instrument, make one. All kinds of.
See, I'll just add in like things like that, just as a person, I like that what he just said there. I like that he's a creative person. I can relate to that. I can relate to the way he's thinking and what he's saying. And, there's, like I said, there's just, there's things you take the good, you leave the bad. I always say you eat the meat, you leave the bones. But, you find the things you can connect with people, then you have to leave the other stuff out. I can't connect with the Freemason thing or the Illuminati thing or anything with the satanic stuff, but I can connect with the person that has a gift that's interesting and, that how they're using it, and just a creative minded person. We all, many of us are creative, not everybody, but some people are just real business, straightforward type folks, very little creativity, and that works too. But for the many creative people out there, I think we can all kind of relate to this, kind of some of the stuff he's saying, and I can appreciate that about this person, I know I'm rambling.
Things around your house that'll make noise. Let's record those sounds that you discover and layer them and write yourself a song. That's really what music's all about, just making noises and pissing the neighbors off, of course. Make playlists and exchange them with others. Listen to new music, listen to old music, listen to music that you're not familiar with, My eternal weakness is old country blues, Son House, Booker White, Robert Johnson. That's my eternal weakness. Just stay busy.
Even the Robert Johnson reference, man, that's another example of a guy that sold his soul at the crossroads. You've all heard that story, right? It's a really interesting legend behind him too, but so that.
In your minds. We'll get through this thing. Anyway, before I wander and let you get back to your lives, there's something that my dear friend and my brother, Jeff, and I would like to share with you. Over the last couple of years, I've had the incredible honor of recording an album with one of my all-time guitar heroes, Jeff Beck. So Jeff and I recorded this song last year, or maybe a year and a half ago. Isolation, it's called. It's our take on a sublime John Lennon song. And Lennon's prophetic words are pure poetry. The profundity of his lyrics.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. I think we got the best out of it. Now he's just talking about other stuff that I don't really care about. So there you go. There's Johnny Depp. 3 posts, 2.6 million followers. Trump administration opposes Bill Gates' vaccine tracking system on personal liberty grounds. Gates wants a, quote, mark of the beast digital tracking system for vaccines. Indeed, he does. Well, we talked about this earlier. We mentioned Barr coming out about that. So, okay, there you go. Appeals court reinstates Texas abortion ban. Texas has effectively prohibited most abortions in the state with the support of a federal appeals court. The decision was made on Friday in a 2-1 vote. The ban came as a part of Governor Greg Abbott's executive order against all non-essential medical procedures amid the C-19 crisis. The anticipated ruling halted a lower court's decision to oppose the state order earlier this month. The 2 judges to rule in support of the policy have argued a state may implement measures that curtail constitutional rights, quote, when faced with a society-threatening epidemic, unquote, such as the coronavirus pandemic. However, many pro-choice activists have emphasized how the ruling could potentially interfere with the time sensitivity of the operations. Texans deserve abortion access and care without delay, stated one pro-choice Texan. We know that the operation is essential health care. It's a procedure where time is of the essence. Right. You got to make sure you get it done on that unholy holiday or whatever ritual day you choose. The decision did make a narrow exception for abortions nearing the 22 weeks cutoff. Oof. Meanwhile, 5 other states, including Oklahoma, are also pushing legislation that deems the operation as non-essential amid the pandemic. Republican officials defended this move by saying it aims to conserve essential medical equipment during this time. Yep, good move. Attorney General Ken Paxton has supported the measures, saying that abortion providers were demanding special treatment. Paxton also believes the measure justly prioritizes vital medical supplies for those fighting the virus. He said he plans to prosecute providers that continue to perform abortions. There you go. Good news. Think about all the stories. You probably saw this because it happened in multiple states. You know, all the states have their own, under this epidemic or pandemic, the states basically get to kind of do their own thing for the most part, right? But so some states are allowing for these operations to take place while not allowing churches to join together. I mean, and you probably saw, I'm sure you did. I've showed you some stories last week, saw some this week, just don't want to inundate you with that. I mean, there's enough of it, but a lot of that's been happening too. You know, this whole thing is really showing who these governors and mayors, you know, who they really are, showing us who they really are. I'll play a little bit of this. It's from a man named Marcus Rogers. He's a boxer. David Rodriguez. Oh, wait, this is says famous boxer David Rodriguez dropped some info from Marcus Rogers. I don't know, maybe it's the same guy. But anyway, this just came out April 15th, just a couple days ago. But interesting. We'll check some of this out. Some of it sounds like to me that he's kind of, I think he even says he's kind of newly woke up in a way, kind of newly red-pilled. I think more even maybe connected back to more the Q type thing again, which is its own level of awareness. And there's a lot of good truth that comes out of that kind of community, the people themselves. You know, again, I'm not a fan of Q itself, of any anonymous group telling me things or giving me crumbs. But I know people who are into it and follow it, and they're reasonable people. I see what they're doing. You know, I understand what some of these people are, the way they're thinking. But then I see people who are maniacal about it and think that everything Q does, it's all on the up and up. This is finally the truth and da-da-da. And, you know, full on allegiance to anything but Christ. This is just me. I know, hey, I'm not perfect, but anything in this world, full on allegiance to anything in this world, even my own country, freaks me out a little bit. I always got to remember God first, you know, Christ first. Then, then you have your allegiances, like with family, right, comes first, and then other loved ones, and on down the list. Your neighbors, your landscapers, you love everybody, right? So here we go. We'll play some of this, and all right, it's going to give me a chance to go get another drink here real quick, refilled. It's just a watermelon flavored water tonight, folks. So calm down. No liquor. I don't drink. I know I don't buy alcohol. I don't do that. All right, enough about my drinking habits. Check some of this out.
I've been involved in boxing, being a pro athlete for a long time, and I've made some connections. I've made some powerful connections, with fighters, UFC fighters, professional boxers. I've been in that arena where I rubbed shoulders with some big names. I've been around Tony Robbins. I've been around, I've gone out with like Oprah. I've gone out with a lot of big people and had, been able to meet a lot of big people and talk to them like I'm talking to you all. And I just want to say one thing, and I know a lot of you are doubting this, but this is the truth, man. There is a big sting operation going down. It's happening, and I'm telling you, man, these pedophile rings are getting taken down. It's Hollywood ain't cool anymore. Hollywood's going down, and I still talk to my sources, and I still talk to people that are involved. And listen, there is a big operation going down, and they're getting taken out. And every day is confirmation to me when it's a secretive thing, but I think it's going to come out. They say it's going to come out on the media when it's all said and done. And I think what's going to happen is going to really shock a lot of you. I mean, a lot of you are going to kind of brush it off and be like, well, I always knew it was there, but I don't think you understand how prevalent these pedophile rings really are in Hollywood and in the sports arenas, in Hollywood, in the political arena. I mean, everywhere, man. It's bad. And it's human trafficking, and sex trafficking is the hottest thing, that biggest commodity right now. And I think once this all comes out to the surface, a lot of you are going to be disgusted and feel very dirty for even knowing the information. I got to tell you, a lot of you don't like Trump, but he's doing the right thing right now. This guy is spearheading this whole thing, and it's an amazing thing to watch. They're going after the cartels, the human trafficking. They're going after the child pedophilia rings. Look, all these roads lead to Clinton Foundation in Haiti. They lead to, I'm trying not to give away too much information, but Jeffrey Epstein, we all know he didn't kill himself. Harvey Weinstein is dropping massive amounts of information. There's a lot going on right now, and it's going to come to the surface, and you all are going to see this, and you all are going to witness something happen that's just absolutely amazing. And we need to protect our children, man. There's, Corey Haim's coming out with documentaries. All these people are wanting to leak information, but it's all going to come out at the right time. And like I said, Hollywood's going down. It's fucking going down. It's sinking like the Titanic, and they're all trying to bail themselves out, and they're all trying to jump ship. And some of the biggest celebrities that were involved in this shit. And I'm not going to reveal any names, but I have friends that are, I'm going to just say it, I'm not bragging, nothing like that, but I have friends that are A-list celebrities that are good people, and they've dropped some names in me that I'm like, whoa, I cannot imagine that. I mean, you understand that there are children sacrifices where people actually drink adrenochrome, where they terrify the child so much. And this is hard to swallow. This is hard to even grasp, but it's an actual ancient ritual to terrify mainly children, because they're more pure. Their adrenal glands are more pure. Terrify them to the point where they cannot, where they're so scared and they're pumping out so much adrenaline, and they're so terrified. And then you finally kill them and you drink their blood, and it's like the ultimate aphrodisiac. It's like the fountain of youth. It rebuilds collagen. It does all kinds of enhancements for the body. It's a sick ritual ceremonies, and now they bottle up and sell it in the vials, and people buy this shit. It's a drug. And if you see, I've looked at before and after pictures of some of these celebrities that have been on adrenochrome supposedly and then off, and they look like they aged 20 to 30 years in a matter of a month. This shit's real. And I don't care if you all call me loony or conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I know people in this business that are confirming to me what I know. And this is an operation going down, and I can't wait to see these dominoes fall, man. These pieces of shit get taken out because it's time. And I really do believe on a spiritual level, it's a mass awakening happening right now. I believe our planet is going through a global shift of consciousness to where we are all waking up and seeing the reality of what really is this matrix, or what is really going on in this reality. And I think that we're gonna have to deal with a lot of good and a lot of ugly. And because you got to have both, you got to know the dark side and the good side. And I think the dark side is going to reveal itself, and you all are going to be very, very bothered by this and disgusted. I mean, if you have any kind of good grain left in you, or any good of a morality, you're going to be disgusted with what you see. I'm sitting back patiently with this quarantine, kind of knowing this information, knowing like, wow, this shit's going down. We all know the economy is not going to ever be the same. I don't know what's going to happen. There's rumors of it going to a gold-backed dollar and getting rid of the feds. I can't validate any of this, but I feel confident enough that I do know the pedophile rings are going down. And we have ships in the Caribbean right now intercepting drugs. Trump has sent big battleships out there. They're fighting the cartels. I mean, this is going down. Now, I think the virus was a global attack it was a bioweapon. I do believe that. I think the virus does exist, but not to the scale they say it is. I think fucking everyone's dying of the coronavirus, dying of other ailments, and then they're saying it's the coronavirus. I don't know. I'm skeptical about all that, but I do know Hollywood's going down right now, and I just wanted to say my little piece.
All right, that's pretty much it. I don't want to play his whole video. I'll show you where you can go to watch all that. He never gives any names, if you're wondering. I was waiting too, but I watched the whole thing before. That's on Marcus Rogers' YouTube channel. If you want to watch the whole thing, Marcus Rogers. And that was boxer David Rodriguez we were just listening to there. Judicial watch subpoenas Google in search of Hillary Clinton's missing government emails. We'll see. People have been talking about that for a long time. We'll see if that happens. This is footage from Iranian vessels repeatedly conducted dangerous and harassing approaches against U.S. naval ships operating in international waters of North Arabian Gulf. U.S. crews took actions deemed appropriate to avoid collision. So let's watch this.
His gun's unpinned.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he's coming up. They're taking a bow.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But anyway, I show you that because that's something I've been talking about the last few weeks as well, is where will be the connection between the whole global pandemic, if you will, and World War III, specifically something with China. So we know it'll ultimately supposed to be Russia, China, and Iran, I believe, most likely North Korea, right? And then bang, bang, boom, boom. Are we going to see a World War III? Or is that going to be when the alien show starts? Is that when the Project Bluebeam and then the Saviors? Or when the actual orbs come down, shaped like the Pleiadians, the tall whites? Who knows? Will it be Maitreya? All the whole world at war and Israel surrounded and all this. And then from the clouds comes Maitreya. Looks like the Jesus image they've given us all these years. Here comes Maitreya. Well, what would that be like? I don't know. Or maybe none of that will happen. There's that. No, I do believe, all kidding aside, the war drums are beating, and there's some other stories I think I have tonight. GOP governor, I will not shut down my state following herd mentality, not leadership. She looks serious. Republican South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has refused to implement a lockdown order for her entire state despite intense national media pressure. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, she underscored the importance of federalism and rejected the one-size-fits-all approach pushed in the mainstream. Our Constitution ensures that the citizen's right is protected, Noem told reporters. Excuse me. I agree with the role of our government as set forth in our state and our national constitution. I took an oath to uphold these constitutions. My role with respect to public safety is something I take seriously, the Republican continued. The people themselves are primarily responsible for their safety. They are the ones that are entrusted with expansive freedoms. They are free to exercise their rights to work, worship, and play, or to stay at home or to conduct social distancing. The calls to apply a one-size-fits-all approach to this problem in South Dakota is herd mentality, not leadership, she stated. Love it. That's great. Good job. Oh, this was goes back to our friend Jay Dyer, who, by the way, has had his celebration, a live celebration show for the 50,000 subscribers. If you guys didn't see that, check it out. If you're not subbed to Jay Dyer, check him out. He's a friend of mine, and we go back many years, done some shows together throughout the years. But this was cool. Put this up. He said, "What you reading, Gil?" And if you look close enough, I know it's hard to see, but I'll read it for you. That book on the very top in blue, it's called How to Lie with Statistics. How to Lie with Statistics. That's the book he has on the top. Wow. Hiding in plain sight. Eh? Let me see. Show this thread. The Tobacco Atlas. I don't know. That's another book he's reading. Anyway, okay. Got it. Good stuff, Jay. Wild animals are reclaiming cities and streets during the C virus lockdown. I've seen a few stories about this. Different people are filming some of this in different places, where you haven't seen animals in a long time. Suddenly there's tons of ducks, or whatever. But there's different animals kind of coming back into the cities. Afoot and lighthearted, they're taking to the open road amid the global lockdowns to curb the spread of the virus. Striking images taken in South Africa's popular Kruger National Park, which has remained shut since March 25th, show a pride of some 15 lions napping in the middle of an empty paved road. Yeah, cool. Hi, guys. Come here, kitty. Kitty, get over here. CNN reports. Man, I don't even know if I can read something when I have CNN reports. CNN. We'll see. We'll try. Maybe this is just one of those regular types. It's not political, so we'll see. CNN reports that on any typical day, this area would be packed with tourists on safari excursions, but that doesn't mean that the travelers would get to experience this site. This lion pride are usually resident on Kempiana Contractual Park, an area Kruger tourists do not see, the park tweeted Wednesday. This afternoon, they were lying on the tar road just outside the camp. Cool. Oh, here's some more pictures. In video. Whoa. These guys, look at those horns. Check out them horns. Yikes. Goats. It's always goats. I don't know how much of this I can play. I think this is one of those companies that copyrights you. With the aquarium closed to humans, penguins take opportunity to explore and visit with other animals. If this is as cute as it sounds, turn the volume down. He's going to go check out the fish. Neat. Neat. Critics are already declaring Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters the album of the year. Fiona Apple. I remember way back, I think it was when I was in film school, and that's a long time ago. I think that's back when she was really popular. But I remember a story around that time. She was dating a director. I think it was either Darren Aronofsky or it was another director that was popular around that time. He made a movie called Magnolia. You ever see Magnolia? Really great. I really thought that was a good movie. Anyway, it's one of those guys, one of those directors. She's dating one of those directors, and they were friends with Quentin Tarantino. And one night, this director, who I'm not really sure, you can look it up. Her and this director and Quentin Tarantino, I think they're in New York City. They're walking back to their place, and they stumbled on a movie, a disc. It was like in a little box, DVD. They picked it up and they took it back to the house with them, and it was some kid's film school project from New York City Film School. It's like his final film, and they actually watched it together. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, the fact these directors, found this kid's, and I went to film school, so I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. Back then, I thought it was really cool, But they said the movie sucks. But can you imagine if it was actually any good, or something that they thought was, that connected with them and on some level, and went and found this kid, All right. Anyway, so I had a point to all this stuff. So she has a new album out, but here's what I noticed, and this is the cover of the new album. That's it. It's the all-seeing eye. Come on, Fiona, really? Does it always have to be the all-seeing eye? They're saying the reclusive artist's fifth record, released with the world at a safe distance, couldn't have come at a better time, in her 5-star reviews. So they're all saying it's amazing. It's the next big thing. It's brilliant. But any surprise? And that's so terrible too. It's like it takes away some time. I mean, is it the artist that has earned all of these accolades, or is this sign of something else? That she has signed off to that system, so she's going to come in with all the accolades and all the good. This is the way I think. Yeah, maybe not for you, I'm not sure, but that's how I kind of break these things down sometimes. It's, is she really earning it on her own, or I haven't seen her videos. Maybe there's some videos, maybe there's some more symbolism in the videos, maybe read the lyrics to get a bigger picture of this and see, because sometimes maybe the eye is just an eye, but then again, in her case, also the fact that she's been around the industry and been around for a long time. I don't know. I know I'm just rambling. But I'll have to check it out if she has any music videos coming out. It's just a cute picture I wanted to share. This was a zebra mated with, let me see what. A rare baby zonkey has been born after a zebra who ventured out into a local community mated with a donkey. Here it is. Thought that was pretty cute. Sorry there's no video. Pretty cool, huh? Look at that little guy. Little striped legs. Be kind of cool to have, wouldn't it? It'd almost be kind of the perfect apocalypse pet. If everything really went Walking Dead style, there were no zombies, but just people fighting people and stuff. But if you had one of those, like the little one in the back, like the size of the mom or dad in the front, but it looked like that, just so unique and original and big and brown and those striped legs, and like that was your creature for the apocalypse, the end of the world. I don't know. I feel like that'd be really cool. It'd be a great way to make a statement. Riding into town, one of those things. You know, maybe a big sword over your shoulder, a boombox on the other shoulder, cranking out some kind of awesome entrance song. Sexy human cyborg plans to give mankind an upgrade as she shows off fiber optic glowing boobs. Yeah, I thought this is just some more nonsense, but why not? This is, I guess, this is a new trend. Apparently, this is what all the kids are going to be doing here real soon. There you have it. Cyborg glowing boobs. Not for me, thanks. I mean, I won't be doing that. I wouldn't be wearing something like that. Mystery UFO followed by big black trail falls slowly from sky over Brit town. This is from the 13th, so about 4 days ago. Darn, no video. There's a picture of it. I share it because I think it was last week's show, and if not, it was the week before, because I know it was a recent one. But there's some footage we saw where it was a guy recording, and he was recording multiple things that looked like that falling out of the sky. Do you remember that? There's like 3 or 4 of them. And this is just over the last week, maybe 2 weeks. And now we have this. There's another thing kind of falling out of the sky, but I think there's a good far away picture. So there's the house. It's over somebody's house. Let me see where the other one is. I think I had another story up here. Give me a second. Guess not. Okay, my bad. Anyway, all right. I was going to try to connect it to another story because there's another, if not story, it's a video. Maybe I still have some videos left of somebody recorded something like this, and it wasn't the same day. It was another more recent. So I don't know what that is. I'm just saying, could this be a new trend? When I see things like that, I wonder, are we going to start seeing more footage of something like this, something just falling out of the sky like that? And that's how the other things looked. The pictures we saw, the videos I've shown here. Top Catholic exorcist says possessed victims have eyes as black as sharks. That's one of those videos I've always been meaning to do, but it would be a whole lot of work. And I don't know, maybe I still will sometime. It's just hard to capture all this stuff. But throughout the years, there's some shows I've watched on Investigation Discovery. And a lot of them, it had to do with people that, like loved ones that just suddenly changed, somebody that you thought you knew, and then, turns out they're a monster or something. But, a lot of times it was someone you're related to or you're married to. And it happens so often, hearing the same thing, always different victims, but always saying the same phrase, that when they first saw this person really change and do something wicked or whatever, or get really angry, that they always say their eyes were completely black, or they looked like a demon, or they looked like a monster, or their face completely changed. And the video I've been wanting to make is just to do a compilation of all of those, just capture a whole bunch of those, which is something I can do sometime. I'm always working on something else, so more immediate, but I'll have to, but I'm just telling you could do a compilation video. You could probably make one a good 30, 45 minutes long of just clips of people saying that over and over and over again in different situations from different shows. Just another example of that, the full-on possession taking place, just like in the movies, interestingly enough, just like in the movies, but their eyes go completely black. Let me see if you can find it in here. Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going to look up Joe Biden black eyes. Have you ever seen that? Some of you guys, some of you may have, some of you may, or I know some of you have, some of you may have not. Look up Joe Biden's all black eyes, or Joe Biden's eyes go completely black. As he was sitting behind Obama during some kind of a State of the Union or something, but his eyes were completely black. And they were saying like a few days later that he had some kind of an eye operation thing or something. I don't know, and then within a month or so, I feel it was really close around that time, the Queen of England showed up to an event, and I think it was her left eye was completely full on blacked out, black and red looking, like a really deep blood red towards black look. It was a crazy look. Saying, yeah, she had a procedure, and it, it's always something, but I don't know. Even with that, maybe these are an allergic reaction. Maybe it was this, was that, or maybe is it a manifestation? Is this like an open thing? Something maybe perhaps they couldn't control. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but you know me, I'm just thinking over here. Easter worshippers crucified with real nails, an excruciating Good Friday tradition. Gross. That hurt. While many of us will be enjoying hot cross buns and chocolate eggs this Easter weekend, and I just mean it's not necessary. Do you know what I mean? I think that it's kind of the whole thing against the whole reason Jesus did that in the first. We're free. We don't have to do that. You don't have to punish yourself anymore. Okay? While many of us will be enjoying hot cross buns and chocolate eggs this Easter weekend, some people will be spending the holiday in much less comfortable conditions. For devout Christians, it says, in the Philippines, these are devout Christians, I guess, prayer isn't enough to honor the life and death of Jesus Christ. Instead, they are voluntarily crucified on Good Friday. Not metaphorically either. Real nails are hammered through their hands before they're hoisted up by the arms of wooden crosses. The crucifixions are part of the local observance of Holy Week in the overwhelmingly Catholic nation and have been happening since 1962. Wearing crowns made of twigs to represent thorns, dozens of worshippers known as Magdarame take part in the extreme ritual every Good Friday. Every Good Friday? In towns and cities across the Philippines, although it's concentrated in the central Luzon province of Pampanga. That's rough. Some drag heavy crosses or crawl on their hands and knees to the side of the crucifixion as crowds of onlookers watch, while other penitents whip themselves with bamboo or pieces of wood in an act of self-flagellation. Designated participants dress up as Roman centurions and play the role of Christ's executioners. Those who have chosen to be crucified, usually men, are then tied to wooden crosses, and metal nails the size of pencils are driven into their palms and feet. Ow! The crosses are hoisted upright. Man, come on, guys. Really? Dudes. It's not deeds. It's not works anyway. And, I don't know if that's their intention, but it's not nothing. We're beyond works-based things. Freemasons believe in works. We're saved by the grace of Christ's sacrifice. Saved. But this stuff here, come on, guys, really? Thankfully, the crucifixions last only a few minutes rather than the agonizing days-long process of an actual execution. People that choose to be crucified consider it an act of mortification of the flesh, a process of spiritually killing one's sinful nature through physical suffering. You know what? To each his own. To each his own, too. Others are crucified to fulfill a piñata, a vow, or to express their gratitude for favors granted by God. The practice is strongly discouraged by the Catholic Church in the Philippines, which has disavowed crucifixion as a superstition that goes against its teachings. It's rough. Wow. Not to be confused with your local LGBTQ parade. Okay, there you have it. There's another guy. Rough. Jesus figure appears in tree days before Easter as crowds snub the virus lockdown. The sight of a Jesus Christ figure on a tree trunk has led dozens of locals breaking the virus lockdown to see it just days before the Easter period. Footage taken to the town of Mangang, I'm not sure, in Bolivar, Colombia, shows a large group gathering around the tree. They can be seen taking photos of it as a cameraman and journalist says dozens of people are gathered here. They are here to see the figure of what they say or believe is the figure of Christ. They have forgotten about coronavirus and are currently here looking at this figure. What appears to be a figure like Jesus can be seen on the tree trunk. The branch formation even gives the impression of a figure is hanging on the cross. Here it is. I can see it. You see it? Let's read some more. It can clearly be seen, and everybody is praying and asking for Earth to be cured of this evil and for Magangui to be protected. Local shopkeeper Rafael Rodriguez told the media outlet. Authorities are reportedly concerned the tree could become a pilgrimage site despite the coronavirus lockdown in the country. The video also shows how people are ignoring social distancing rules, increasing the risk of infection. How many Karens called that in? Here's another shot of it. I wish I could find the video. Maybe there's a video down here. Another journalist said the figure appeared last Sunday night and people rushed there with candles and transformed the place into a pilgrimage site, which is concerning neighbors as a lot of people are gathering there. That is pretty crazy, though, if that just kind of appeared there, because that's pretty high up. According to the latest figures from the Johns Hopkins University, Columbia is registered. All right, it's all about the C virus stuff. All right, there you go. I see it. I see it. Donald Trump puts himself at the heart of the lockdown rebellion, tweeting liberate Michigan, Virginia, and Minnesota in broadside at Democratic Governor's Day after saying that they'll call the shots. Hopefully, let's see. Let's see how the lockdown rebellion goes. Let's see, right? Remember, it's why we're watching, but just again, think back to anybody that in the beginning of this a few weeks ago is telling you that you're finished. Now look, we're not out of the clear yet, and there's going to be ramifications of all this, and all this clearly was a part of a plan, I believe, and they did put a lot of things into place, and they are still putting things in place. But to say that there's no coming out of it, no matter what, and I've seen so many people in the beginning of this, this is it is finished, you are done, not necessarily, hold on, okay, let's see what happens here, let's see what this turns into, let's see how it all plays out, Sit back and, I guess, enjoy the show. The priest who had the number of the beast, as the Vatican's chief exorcist for 30 years, Father Gabriel Amorth, claimed to have dealt with the devil 60,000 times. Now a new book tells his head-spinning story. However, he was convinced, as the Vatican's chief exorcist, Father Gabriel Amorth, I think, was often asked to help people when troubles turned out to be far more mundane than demonic possession. However, he was convinced he faced evil incarnate one morning in 1997 when a young Italian man was brought to his small consulting room in Rome. The peasant was accompanied by his priest and another man. The latter was a translator. For a while, the afflicted man spoke only Italian. The evil spirit inside him spoke perfect English, he was told. Hi. Friar Amorth started the exorcism in Latin, and the moment he mentioned Jesus' name, the young man fixed his gaze on him and began to yell curses and threats in English, then spitting and making it out as if about to attack him. When the exorcist arrived at the prayer, I command you, the demon briefly went quiet, but then, screaming and howling, the demon burst forth and looked straight at him, drooling saliva from the young man's mouth. Writes Marcella Stanzione, a fellow Catholic priest who worked with Friar Amorth. He continued the rite of liberation, demanding the demonic presence reveal its name. He was shocked when he was told it was Lucifer himself. Momentarily shaken to be confronting the devil, he nevertheless plowed on. The possessed man resumed his shrieking, twisting his head back and rolling his eyes, his back arched for a quarter of an hour. The room became extremely cold and ice crystals formed on the windows and walls. Moments after the exorcist ordered Lucifer to abandon the peasant, the young man's body stiffened and began to levitate, hovering 3 feet in the air for several minutes before collapsing into a chair. Finally, Satan admitted defeat, announcing the exact day and hour when he would leave the man's body. It sounds like the stuff of horror fiction. But Friar Stanzione insists it all actually happened. He's just written a book, The Devil is Afraid of Me, containing astonishing new details, including the horrific demonic encounter in 1997. Crazy. You want to read more about that? This is on Daily Mail. The priest who had the number of the beast. Check out his book. Read his book. Or not. This is some kind of a creature. Ring sting. Mysterious stinging tentacle creature filmed off coast of Australia. Looks like giant ocean string. I just watched a movie a couple days ago called Underwater. Did you guys ever see Underwater? I remember when it came out a while back. I wasn't even interested back then. I'm not interested in the actors and actresses in it. And I don't know, it just didn't really seem like... I like a good monster movie, don't get me wrong. But anyway, I just decided a few days ago to go ahead and check it out. Nothing else sounded interesting. I figured I'd read in a couple horror movie sites about this, or scary movie sites, so I checked it out. The monsters were really crazy in that thing. I don't want to give away too much, but they did really good with the monsters in that. I'll just say that. Anyway, there's really not much this thing does. It just kind of floats. But there you go. It's a huge tentacle creature. Huge tentacle creature. Have you ever been stung by a jellyfish? I have. It hurts. It felt like electric currents to me. It felt like I was getting electrically shocked over and over. Wow, you almost feel it when you start talking about it again. I was in Hawaii. I lived in Maui, Hawaii for a couple years in the Coast Guard of all things. There's a small unit out there. And I was surfing out there one time, and I was too far away, and then the whole jellyfish horde came in. They came in fast. Next thing you know, you're surrounded, and just everywhere you're paddling to get out of there or get back to the beach, you're paddling, and I was feeling their tentacles, like little threads, and I was pulling them up with my hands, like, and I'd feel it kind of burning on my hand, and felt like electric shocks. It's crazy. Mysterious 2,100-year-old human clay head contains ancient ram's skull from buried ground with 200 burned corpses. What kind of rituals were these people doing, eh? I'm going to save this one, too. Again. The soldier was laid to rest wearing his clay likeness 2,100 years ago in a burial mound in Russia alongside the burned corpses of 200 other people. This is what they put over his head. Yikes. Trick or treat. Trick or treat. Experts had long presumed the mask contained parts of the man's skull, but feared they would destroy it if they opened it. Decades later, a new scanning technique has allowed scientists to peer inside without damaging the object. Unique among findings at the mound known as Shatowski Burial Mound number 6, the clay head is filled with the bones of a sheep, not a human. Aha. I wonder, what's going on with this? Now scientists are seeking an explanation for the bizarre find in the necropolis in Russia's Caucasia region. Let's look at some pictures, shall we? Look at that. So that's inside that mask I showed you. That's what's inside there, is the sheep head bone. Bunch of bones. Clay likeness of a man who died 2,100 years ago. There it is. What is that? So I'm making a robot out of it? It looks like that's like a robot body underneath it, doesn't it? Even like, looks like it could be a little arm there. It's got little wheels down here. That would really be creepy. Honey, I'm home. Can you imagine going home and scaring your kids with that? They're upstairs and they got their bedroom door open, laying on their bed, maybe playing a game on the computer, and they hear down the hall, and this thing comes scooting around the corner. Kids, you want to play? Let's play. All right, there we go. There we go. Weird story, not sure what it all means. I'm going to come back to that because I think I may use this for a video, actually. So I'm going to bounce out of that one real quick. Wanted to share this, too. It's a movie called The Current War. It's from 2017. I just watched it yesterday. And I had read a book about Nikolai Tesla years ago. It's a biography on him, or an autobiography on him. And it was fantastic. And I remember even when I was reading it, always thinking, like, this should be a movie. How come nobody's ever made a movie about this? Well, I don't think they made the full movie out of it, but they definitely, there's some of it is in this. And I was really happy to see that. I didn't even fully realize that until about halfway through. So I kept anyway, I don't want to spoil too much, but it says, this is the official synopsis, the dramatic story of the cutthroat race between electricity titans Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse to determine whose electrical system would power the modern world. So I already gave away that Nikolai Tesla shows up in this. He's such an interesting character, but yeah, check it out. It's a good movie. It's something you can watch with your family. There's not a lot. There's no sex and nudity and violence and all that stuff. Like, nothing I can remember. But it's PG-13. There might be a couple bad words. I'm not sure, but otherwise, it's a good movie. It really blew me away. And like I said, after a little while, I was like, hey, I've seen this before or something. And suddenly I was like, oh, it's that book. This is a part of that. So it's all really interesting. Very, very interesting, true story. So if you're looking for something that's, not foul and not too toxic and not too much, whatever, horror, thriller, whatever else, or gross comedy or rude comedy, The Current War. Let me know if you've ever watched it. Let me know. Or if you do watch it, let me know what you think. Here's another one I was going to share. Of course, they have to have the all-seeing eye, up here. But These Woods Are Haunted. That's a show. It's a pretty new show I've gotten into, and I really like it. But it's because it's true stories about cryptozoology. They put it out there that it's these woods are haunted. But after watching so much of it, I know why they have the all-seeing eye there. I would say 95% of these stories are demonic possessions and demonic manifestations, and the people in the things here even acknowledge it, or near the end they do. But most of these, a lot of them, they never believed in anything like this before, and you can see how it really changed their lives and their minds about things. It really freaks some of these people out. There's people out there who are, the hoax tard, I call it, but somebody's like, oh, they don't even watch it. It's all BS. They're all actors. I'm sure there's people, you can retrace these people's stories and find stuff online about it if you want to, but I'm just saying, I believe these stories. I like this on Travel Channel. I like true stories, especially true kind of eerie, scary stories. It's just the way, I've written that stuff for years. I make videos somewhat with that kind of a theme, of course. We see through it, though. We're not scared of horror. I'm not telling you to watch horror and scary stuff, but if you know me, it's some of the stuff I like to watch and I have to watch to figure out the videos I make and to find things. It's just what I do. I'm rambling again. These Woods Are Haunted. Really interesting show. Some scary stuff. Not a fan of the all-seeing eye. Maybe go into this knowing that there's an agenda there to perhaps scare you, because some of the stuff is pretty freaky and scary. Maybe that's part of that, but still, there you go. Dr. Fauci endorses Tinder hookups if you're willing to take a risk. Wow. That's all I needed to know. The clown. I really think the guy's a clown. Canadian meat industry warns of immediate and drastic impact to meat supply. Some of these are just headlines I'm wanting to share. So there's a few stories like that with the food. It's another trend we're seeing. Go back to Africa, half black. Oops. Uh-oh, what's this? What story did I get myself into here? It says, go back to Africa. Half black beauty blogger 24 faces racist abuse in China amid rising discrimination against Africans during coronavirus pandemic. All right. Fair enough. Here's the other story. Global food supply chains beginning to erode as crisis looms. That was from yesterday. This is on over on Zero Hedge. As the coronavirus continues to infect more and more people, food supply chains have started to become more strained in recent days. It was announced yesterday the world's biggest pork producer is closing a primary U.S. plant indefinitely after a coronavirus outbreak amongst employees. Smithfield Foods, Inc. will halt its pork processing facility in South Dakota, which accounts for 4% to 5% of U.S. pork production. The company also warned that closures across the country are taking American meat supplies previously close to the edge of shortfalls. This is just one of the latest examples of the C virus beginning to disrupt food chains at a more significant scale rapidly. We anticipated this as we reported on April 1st that food supply chains were in the early stages of being strained. Many countries were preparing weeks ago by cutting back on exports to begin stockpiling. Surprisingly, dairy farmers in the United States are starting to dump milk because there is no place for them to go, as the marketplace for dairy products has been affected by the closures of restaurants, schools, hotels, and food service businesses. Wow, look at that picture, man. Look at that. Just dumping that milk. That's a shame. One would begin to believe history might not be repeating itself, but it is undoubtedly starting to rhyme. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, the hardest hit industry was farming. Farm incomes dropped by nearly 2/3 at the beginning of the 1930s. Dairy farmers dumped countless gallons of milk into the street instead of accepting a penny at a quart. There they are, dumping more milk. Wow. During World War I, farmers had produced record crops and livestock to keep everyone fed. However, when prices started to fall, they tried to harvest even more to pay their debts and living expenses. In the early 30s, prices dropped so low that many farmers went bankrupt and lost their farms. In some cases, the price of a bushel of corn fell to just 8 to 10 cents. Some farmers even began burning corn rather than coal in their stoves because corn was cheaper. However, there's a dramatic difference today. Prices are not dropping. In fact, grocery bills are getting more expensive by the day. Supply chains are being disrupted due to the transportation and, of course, processing of a vast selection of foods. As we are beginning to learn, the country where the C virus started, China, may now be facing a food crisis. The country has just reopened its economy as the communist regime has even claimed a C virus victory. However, there is a leaked government document made public last Thursday that shows that government officials have been planning for a shortfall in food supplies. The document, dated March 28th, was drafted following a meeting which was called to make special arrangements for food security. Leaked CCP official notification from Ningxia province, or Guangzhou province in China, issued on March 28th, main points: enhance awareness of the urgency and crisis state of food shortage, guide and motivate the mass to ensure each family maintains food storage for 3 to 6 months, it says. The State Party Committee and the state governments and countries and cities must do everything possible to transfer and store all kinds of living materials such as grain, beef, mutton, oil, and salt through various channels, the document said, according to a report from Radio Free Asia. The document also calls for the mobilization of the masses to consciously store grain and ensure that each household reserves between 3 and 6 months of grain for emergencies. As we tweeted out, there seems to be a sense of panic food buying in response to rumors around food shortage in certain parts of the country. Okay, there you go. More of the connected with the food. Land O'Lakes to remove Indian woman from packaging after 92 years. Ugh. Land O'Lakes president and CEO Beth Ford said in a statement that the Minnesota Butter Company is repackaging its products in time for the company's 100th anniversary. As a farmer-owned co-op, we strongly feel the need to better connect the men and women who grow our food with who consume it, Ford said. Our farmer-to-fork structure gives us a unique ability to bridge this divide. Well, I don't even know what all it means. What do those words mean? I don't get it. A spokesperson for the company told the Post Bulletin the branding shift is to focus on the farmers who make the company's butter and other products. The package's design is slated to replace the Native American woman, features farmer-owned in large text over the background of a blue lake and pine trees. Some butter packages show images of farmers working in the field with the words "proud to be a farmer owned." As a farmer-owned co-op, we stand together to bring you the very best in dairy, it says. Okay. I love the top comment. Just put Elizabeth Warren on there. People will get it. Yeah. Dozens of cops in tactical gear aggressively show up at California church on Easter. Pastor now facing fine or up to 6 months in jail. I think there's a news story with this. Here it is. Check this out.
Merced County say that a pastor was caught hiding dozens of worshipers inside his church on Easter Sunday. Agents reportedly found nearly 60 people in the small church with the doors locked and the cars parked out of view. Apparently, the pastor said he thought the social distancing rules were just recommendations, adding that churches should be exempt anyway. The sheriff says while he understands why some people want to keep churches open, their orders are about public safety.
You still have freedom of speech. You still have freedom of religion. You're just going to have to do it a different way. I'm not telling you you can't worship. I'm just telling you where you can't go to do it.
The orders are about public safety.
You still have freedom of speech. You still have freedom of religion. You're just going to have to do it a different way. I'm not telling you you can't worship. I'm just telling you where you can't go to do it. And that's based upon this health directive.
This is one of several churches that have come under fire for ignoring social distancing rules and holding services.
Here we go. Here's a nice little doom break for us. This is called Pizza Groundhog munches away in defiance of stare down from dogs. It's always nice to have a bit of a doom break, I say. So check this out. This is a good one.
Now that video that is sure to go viral. Okay, you're at somebody peeking in. Let's get a little closer. And the dog wants to have a look. Okay, closer. Hang on. Do you see him? There he is. Will you remember the pizza rat? Move over.
Yeah, we don't need to hear her. There you go. How about that for a doom break? Hi, buddy. It's awesome. Oh, those dogs. He doesn't even care. It's cute. Doom break. That's a good shot. Nice. There he goes. Doom break, doom break. Doom break. Now we gotta get back into the doom. I wanted to share something from this, just because. Let me find it.
All sex dolls until we topple the patriarchy. That's great. You're a feminist sex doll.
1 second.
I think she represents a part of you that. Who is that? Who is
1 second.
She's like 14. So I'm 7.
Here it is. Okay. I mean, if it couldn't get any more degenerate, really, and weird, and gross. This is a new movie. This isn't on Netflix, by the way. Netflix has got plenty of weird stuff in programming. This is on Quibi. It's a new service they keep trying to push. I think it's mostly for your phones and mobile devices. It's a short form, maybe 10-minute long episodes. I think that's kind of the idea. Here's a new one on Quibi called Dummy. And just look at this trash, because and when I say trash, look at what they're doing about children again, right? And crossing those lines. But this whole movie is about this woman that becomes friends with her husband's sex doll. That's the sex doll there on camera. So the woman becomes friends with the sex doll, and the sex doll can talk and lives and talks to this woman, right? And then hilarity ensues. But you're about to see some pedo type stuff coming up here. This is how these shows are. I showed you that one. There's a movie they just put out on Netflix a few weeks ago called something like Coffee and Kareem, and it's about a middle-aged man hanging out. He's dating somebody, but he hangs out with his girlfriend's 15-year-old boy or 14 or 15-year-old son. And anyway, there's a sequence in the trailer for that movie where him and the boy are trapped in a trunk of a car together. And the whole dialogue is, hey, man, get your D out of my A. He's like, my D's not in your A. He will switch positions. And then the kid has to say, I don't want to put my D in your A. And that was really a sequence. I'm just, I know it's gross, but I'm just telling you that this is comedy. This is what people think is funny. That this is what's sold to us as comedy. So, but keeping that in mind, here's another more of that kind of really gross humor about children and stuff like that.
Who is that? He's like 14. So, I'm 7.
That's pretty much all you really needed to see. Get it? Who is that? Oh, he's 14, so I'm 7. I don't know. It's funny, right? It's funny. People like this. Anyway, there you go. Oh, okay. This is a really cool, weird one. I saw some online news, sites or whatever picked up on this story recently too, but this just came out yesterday is when he posted this. Pope Francis vanishes from a window in St. Peter's Square on TV. Let's see if I can just find where he's showing the footage here.
Festivities.
Yeah, check this out. I'll make the screen bigger. Somebody recorded this off of his TV, and then he put it up. He put "Nothing is real." Pope disappears into thin air. And then I think that's where it got its start, but I think this guy may have some other angles on it. Let me check this out.
Shoot without.
Oh, this is from Disclose Screen, by the way. You see that? There it is. This guy, it says Bernie on the bus is his name. It says, I just made this burner account to post this. I filmed this on my local news network, and I wanted everyone to just see what I saw and potentially provide an explanation. Looks like he's a Q guy too, so I don't know. There you go. What do you think about that? It's pretty weird, huh? Here's a closer shot. Oh, and then he's showing that video from I showed you guys a few weeks ago. Remember this? The red briefcase or the red folder? And then it turns green. What's going on, folks? What is going on? What's happening? These glitches in the Matrix, if you will, or the dimensions changing, everything's shifting. For years, I've always said that Stranger Things coming. Stranger Things have definitely come. I think it's weird little bits like this sometimes. It's just, what is going on? Looks like it's still red through that front window. And then it's green. You tell me. Weird, huh? That's on Disclose Screen, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper. Get it? Hey. But that's an interesting one. Pope disappeared. Did he disappear? The glitch.
In Michigan's cap.
What's going on? All right, so here's another one of these examples of the people standing up, people fighting back. They call it Operation Gridlock. Hundreds protest Michigan's stay-at-home orders. This is from one of those little Nazi Marxists, the mayors here in, is it? Oh, governor.
Capital of Lansing, where protesters say the governor's stay-at-home orders violate their constitutional rights. One America's Sonny Unatoa has more on the so-called Operation Gridlock. Take a look.
Hundreds of people take to the streets of Michigan's capital to protest the governor's strict stay-at-home orders.
That's over fear!
Demonstrators used their vehicles to create a traffic jam in front of the Capitol building, while others held signs on the sidewalk as part of the so-called Operation Gridlock. The protest is being led by conservative groups who say they're fed up with Democrat Governor Gretchen Whitmer's extended orders.
This arbitrary blanket spread of shutting down businesses about putting all of these workers out of business is just, it's a disaster. It's an economic disaster for Michigan.
They say Whitmer's restrictions violate their constitutional rights because they keep them from working, limit when they can leave their homes, and what they can purchase at stores.
The Constitution gives us the right to make the choice. It is not for governors to make decisions about what we're supposed to do and keep us locked in and sequestered in our homes.
Governor Whitmer defended her orders, saying they're meant to keep Michiganders safe and stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Michigan has the third most COVID-19 cases in the nation right now, and we are not the third largest state in the nation. That tells you we've got a unique crisis on our hands, and that it demands a unique solution.
The protesters are demanding
that smile. Look at that smile. She loves it. All these people are losing everything but what?
Crisis on our hands, and that it demands a unique solution.
The protesters are demanding she loosen the restrictions and be proactive about reopening the state's economy.
Instead of looking at essential and non-essential, let's start looking at what's safe and unsafe and start getting people back to work.
Federal and state lawmakers are struggling to determine when and how to restart the economy amid the uncertainty over the pandemic. Sonny Unatoa, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this?
Man, they need to change that announcer at the end of that. Did you hear that? You want to see more videos like this? He really sounded like that. Here, listen.
Determine when and how to restart the economy amid the uncertainty over the pandemic. Sonny Unatoa, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this?
Want to see more videos like this? Okay, I don't know. But I do want to see more videos like that. I like OEN, that network so far. Facebook C-Virus fact checker worked for Wuhan virus lab. This is classic. Check this out. Facebook is relying on a, quote, fact checker that uses, quote, expert opinion from a researcher who conducted projects with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the biolab next to the wet market in Wuhan where the Chinese virus originated, or so they say. An article from the expert, in quotes, Danielle E. Anderson, an assistant professor at Duke Medical School, is used by Facebook fact check a video from the Epoch Times suggesting the institute, which is located at the original epicenter of the now global pandemic, as one of the possible origin points. You cannot make it up. The fact checker Facebook is using to censor a documentary discussing possibility that coronavirus came from Wuhan lab is scientists who worked at Wuhan lab with Chinese communists. Honestly, folks, this is not a fringe claim. CNN reports that the U.S. intelligence community is currently investigating the same laboratory as the possible source of the outbreak. The same thread of investigation that got Zero Hedge banned from Twitter in late January is now being looked at by the U.S. government, reported on by the mainstream media. Yeah, let that sink in. Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said the intelligence community is taking a hard look at the question of whether the Chinese virus originated in a lab. Nevertheless, for suggesting the same theory, Facebook has relied on a, quote, fact checker who has a conflict of interest. someone who has conducted collaborative projects with the Wuhan Institute of Virology and whose reputation would be harmed by her connection to it if the virus were found to have been originated there. And that's the fact checker. In Anderson's fact check of the claims, she writes, I will disclose that I am a scientist trained to work in high containment and have collaborative projects with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. I've worked in this exact lab at various times for the past 2 years. I can personally attest to the strict control and containment measures implemented while working there. The staff at WIV are incredibly competent, hardworking, and are excellent scientists with superb track records, she wrote, with a gun to her head. I'm just kidding. I hope not. Says you can watch the documentary. Facebook is fact-checking with Wuhan-linked researchers on free on YouTube. It's on the Epoch Times YouTube channel, if you want to go watch that. Tracking down the origin of Wuhan virus. Epoch Times. Just more lunacy. Governor Cuomo, that's in New York City, recommends taping the sides of your face, mask your entire head. Of course he does. He's a clown. This guy's, he's really is a clown. He's the one that's got the creepy nipple piercings that he's doesn't even hide when he's on national television. Like, come on, man. Keep your kink behind doors, please. Anyway, I don't want to read the whole thing. He's annoying. But I guess that's how he wants us to look. Lou Dobbs floats war with China as consequences for the virus. That's from yesterday. So as I mentioned earlier, I've just been wondering if this is going to be a way to kind of lead us into that direction. You know, lead us into some kind of a scuffle with China, or perhaps a World War III. McDonald's in China bans black people from entering the store. U.S. consulate advises against travel for African Americans. This is from yesterday. Racism seems to be flaring up in China, with a McDonald's banning black people from entering and the U.S. government advising them not to visit Guangzhou. The city of Guangzhou in China is one that has the highest black population in the country and is often visited by traders and travelers from across the African continent. However, this hasn't stopped a spike in racism against black people in the region incited by the virus outbreak. The sign was spotted outside a McDonald's restaurant in the region declaring that they had been, quote, informed that from now on black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant, unquote. The sign was tweeted out by Black Livity China, an account that documents the 360 degrees of black experiences both in China and in relation to China for the benefit of our global community. That'd actually be interesting to see. I would like to see a black person's perspective living in China, because this isn't the first time something racist has come out from China towards black people. They even had that commercial a while back. Do you remember? It was a beautiful young Chinese lady in her home, and a black guy, I think he just either appeared there or shows up, and he looked Nigerian, like a Nigerian type black man or whatever. But if my memory serves me correctly, but she winds up taking him, putting him into a washing machine, dumping the product in that she's selling. And when he comes out, he's a young Asian boy, a young white Asian boy. And then it's like, that's all. They're like, ding, ding, yay. You know, they fall in love, and that's the end of the commercial. You can look that one up. You may still be able to find that. I don't know if YouTube's removed all copies of that or people keep putting it up. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's that. This is just a, I guess I should turn the volume down. It's on, I don't know, back here, Mocarzel. If you want to find this and watch the whole thing, you can. Just come back to the video and look at the name here. But this is a Dubai lockdown. Look at Dubai. Yeah, Dubai is huge, filled with people. And look at this. One of the fastest growing cities in the world, they say. Weird, huh? It's like 28 days later is what it reminds me of. I don't know if that was if this was in, I don't think 28 days later was in this area, but I'm just saying it reminds me of that movie for whatever reason. Crazy, huh? Wow. The architecture out there. That's scary. Imagine standing on top of that. Anyway, I don't play too much just in case. I don't know this person, but Dubai lockdown. You can try to look that up on YouTube. Good luck. It may take you about maybe 5 or 6 pages, because the first 5 or 6 pages on YouTube when you look up Dubai lockdown are going to be CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CBC. And they'll have nothing to do with that, but you'll see. It'll all make sense to you soon. I'll come back to that. Here's what I was trying to find earlier. I knew I had another story. This is massive burning object falls from sky in Streatham, Cambridgeshire in the UK. So here's another one. This was a different one from the other one. I wish I'd found this earlier. Check this out, though. So something's coming out of the skies there. I'll save that video I was about to show you there for last. Oh, here's that footage again. What do you think? Camera, something, maybe camera angle, camera trick, camera angle. Of course, your mind, it's easy for our minds to run to, hologram. We know that it's possible, or is it something spiritual? Is he truly just in spirit form in this world? And he's like truly just this demonic creature, or whatever. I don't know. But, we always have to take the most obvious first. So I would maybe think about just the angle of the camera. I wonder if there's other angles on this. I don't know. But if not, it's definitely weird. This is an art exhibition in China comparing black people to animals. This actually happened. Look at this. It's crazy.
I want to go to the other country to work, 3 months. In some project, American, but I know American offer give me the chance to have the. I want to learn the other thing. The other.
Wow, that is just, look at that one. But that's what I was saying. It'd be interesting to see if, there's a YouTuber out there, a black man or woman that lives in China for whatever reason. And if they were vlogging, I bet that'd be an interesting vlog to see what they may have to deal with out there. And on that note, that is actually our last story for the night. So I'm going to jump back over here for a bit. I'm going to put up a different background and just say thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you took something positive away from it. Maybe it was a nice escape for you for a few hours amidst everything that's happening out there right now. But thank you so much to the moderators as well. Thank you. Big shout out to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. If you'd like to support my work there, please check the links below. I also have a sponsorship on this video underneath the player. Underneath the player, you'll see the somebody's just underneath the player. If you're interested in any kind of food prepping, my sponsor, you click the link, you can get 2 weeks of food, and it's 25-year shelf life for under $100. You can get 4 weeks of food, 25-year shelf life for under $200. If you're interested, check the link below. I also like to leave these shows at the end with a short prayer. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to say, Heavenly Father, thanks once again for just providing a place for us all to hang out. People from all over the place, all over the world, really. Different backgrounds, different views, beliefs, everything else. But I'm glad we can all come together here. And thank you. Thanks for, be with us as we look through all these things in this world and try to make sense of it all as we await the end, really. So just please help us all to, be in a peaceful state of mind, not be in fear, and to make sure we take breaks from all these kinds of things, also spending time in the Word and just spending time with you in general. And thank you, Lord, very much. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. And that's it, guys. Hey, thank you once again. I've got another show coming up on Sunday night, and that'll be the Introvert Show. It'll be should be interesting. It'll be an open call. You guys are invited. You're the guest. I will be leaving the link in chat, and we'll just talk about it, man. All the different aspects of the introvert, the empathy, the empaths. I'm an INFP myself, so get into some of that. Maybe you can teach me some things about it. It's an interesting subject to me, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, I'm still working on videos as well. I can't promise when these two will be done, but I'm still working on some things, and I may put some shorter videos up here soon. But I don't know. I always say that, then I rather put it all together in like a 45-minute or hour-long video. But anyway, I'm rambling. Hey, you guys are great. Thank you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.